Well, friends, nothing lasts forever. And this week we were sadly reminded that again as we lost a real one. The legendary Val Kilmer passed away after a long battle with throat cancer, culminating in an untimely death, leaving behind a bit of a mixed legacy. In the latter part of Val's career, we didn't really get to see him shine the way that we did at the beginning, but out of the gates, my God, this man wowed pretty much immediately, beginning in 1984 with Top Secret. Nick Rivers, he burst into the film world.
Yeah, I
He's
watched that the
been
other day.
he's been making movies as long as I've been alive, and I think that's why this one kind of got me a little bit because as long as I've been alive and loving cinema, Val Kilmer has been there, particularly in the beginning with things like Top Secret, Real Genius, Top Gun, Willow, The Doors, True Romance, Tombstone, Eat. It goes on and on. He was a big part of a formative time in my life with cinema going, and he seemed to be ever present. And for a while, it felt like he was going to be one of the bigger, if not biggest, deals that I was going to see growing up with someone who was becoming somewhat of a hero more than ever in 1995 when he took on something that had deep, personal, and intense meaning to me. And he took on Bruce Wayne and Batman in Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever. From Top Gun all the way back to Top Secret. He was Nick Rivers. He was Chris Knight. He was Iceman. He was Jim Morrison. He was Doc Holliday. He was our Huckleberry. He was Chris Shirless. But most importantly, I think to me and probably to everyone here, he was motherfucking Batman. So this week,
I thought you were.
welcome back.
I
This
thought you
is
were going
Sequel
somewhere else. I'm
Suck.
like, oh, he was also Johnny Holmes, but that's a whole other thing.
He was a legend, is what he was.
By definition alone, they're inferior films. Films. Sequels suck. Sequels suck. Sequels suck. Films.
He's a legend, and here on Sequel Suck, we're very excited to say welcome back. This is the
Yeah.
podcast all about sequels, prequels, remakes, and everything in between. And this week, the one, the only, fucking finally, Batman Forever. Cable, how's it going, mate?
Good, good. That was a very good intro for Val Kilmer.
I felt like he needed something extra. I felt like we
Yeah.
could just dive in when we were talking about this one because it is fresh. It happened just within a week.
Yeah.
Malcolm passed away.
But it is,
And
we're at that age, like, I was thinking about the other day, like, you lose another, and we were talking about recently Gene Hackman passing away, and, even that film, so many of those people, main players, are no longer with us. And some of them, yeah, unfortunately, died fairly young in the scheme of things. And it makes me think of Any Given Sunday when Al Pacino is giving that famous speech. And it's like, as you get older, you lose more and more things. And that's the reality. Like when I was young, thankfully, I didn't really lose too many people along the way. And when you're young, people generally live their lives. But then as you get older, obviously everyone else is getting older, and then you're just getting that one day closer to death, and we lose people along the way, and and that's the same as all these actors that we sort of grew up with. We're starting to lose a lot of them.
I mean, Gene wasn't as big of a shock
Yeah, of course.
because he was 11.
Yeah.
But yeah, Val, like, I think as an older person, and we did the Batman Returns last year with Hannah, and that's for me, that's my Batman movie. But that's an adult thing. This movie I was obsessed with when I was a kid because I was old enough to cognize what was happening. Because we're like, 89, I would have only been 7 or 8. 92, I remember it coming out, but it was not as big a deal for me. But then this came out, and they
It
had
was huge.
Jim Carrey was in it.
enormous.
It was
Jim
the first
Carrey
time I had.
at the height of Jim Carreyism.
He was his most powerful, yeah, and he's swinging for the fences in every scene. But I followed the production of the movie, the behind the scenes looks.
Yeah.
I still have the copy of Movie Magazine with Riddler on the front, like from the era.
The Tarzos? Did you get the Tarzos?
No, I never got into Tarzos. I was poor.
There
So.
But there was also the era where McDonald's had those really cool glass cups, was it not?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
that's right.
They had the
Greatest
Riddler and
thing
Two-Face,
McDonald's
yeah.
ever done.
man.
Which a
Absolutely.
lot of people
The
pop
couple of my
up.
prize and joy.
Yeah.
They go
Pride
for
and joy.
quite a bit on eBay, I'd wager.
Yeah, it's
especially if it's a full set. Yeah.
like you hit on something there, Regan, that I do think while I definitely have a love for Batman 89 and that being sort of the big momentous occasion as well, I do feel like I was at that same sort of age where this was huge. Like, whether you like Returns or not, like I touched on the last episode, I didn't see that at the cinemas. I don't have that affinity for that film or that nostalgia for that film as much as I do this one. Because this was huge, because it was a big deal that Keaton didn't come back.
Yeah.
And was replaced with Val Kilmer, and I was like, oh, I don't have an issue with Val Kilmer, I just don't know if he's Bruce Wayne or whatever. But, you know, they went for like you said, swung for the fences. They went and got Jim Carrey, who was, like you said, at peak Jim Carrey. You got Tommy Lee Jones, you got Nicole Kidman. Like, it's Chris O'Donnell was a little, you know, very unknown at the time. But they definitely went.
He was a name. He was like someone who was poised to.
Yeah, he was in The Bachelor.
Yeah, that would be a big. They're ready for him to be the next Leo.
It was before Scent of a Woman. After Scent of a Woman, so he would have been, you know, that would have been his big sort of cachet before this.
I think but
even Val, like he was ready for this. This was his time to do that, and Schumacher as well. Like, it's coming off the back of, you know, sort of the '80s stuff, but like I always think Lost Boys. But this is unequivocally his film in the same way that Returns is unequivocally Burton's. And it's right in the middle there. It's the cartoon. It's right in the center of West and Burton. Like, if that was the street that it lived on, it'd live on that street. And it's the same, the amount of camp that you need, but it's also quite serious. There's within the first few minutes, Two-Face shoots his own helicopter pilot. Like, it's, you know, like it does have some actual teeth to it, but then it's also got just cocks and nipples everywhere, and it's one of the gayest things ever. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it's no surprise that like Schumacher started his career as a costume designer, because there's a lot of stuff in this that seems to be like, I have a great idea for a costume and we'll figure out the rest later. Which is not a criticism, because it fucking looks fantastic, but everything about it is very aesthetic focused, and I think that was Schumacher's favorite
just
place
the Dutch angles and stuff, and it's like he was really trying something.
And look, I know at the time, for a lot of people, it was kind of an odd thing that happened, where everyone was pissed off that Keaton got cast in the first place, and then everyone was even more pissed off that he didn't come back for the third. But it was this strange thing where people loved Batman '89. Most people, as long as they didn't have shares at McDonald's, loved Batman Returns. Batman Returns was definitely more mixed, but when Batman Forever came around, it was a new Batman, it was a new director, and it was a new style. It was sort of met with a lot of mixed views. The adults who loved Batman '89 so much kind of turned their back on Batman Forever a little bit, and the general movie-going public and younger people really were the ones who embraced it, which was... I really didn't hurt the box office at all. People were like, yeah, cool, whatever, we'll still go. It's just a different demographics are going. But now that we have the benefit of hindsight looking back, it feels to me like a bit of a blessing that we got this pivot when we did, because as much as I love Burton's Batmans, I think had he been allowed to proceed with his Batman 3 the way he wanted to do it, it probably would have been an extremely dark, potentially unsettling version of Batman that had the possibility to be like neither Arthur nor Martha. Like, it could have been too dark for anyone to actually properly enjoy, but also not really Batman-y enough for anyone to really think like, oh, cool, it's Batman, but dark. There's versions of it out that people can see. There's lots of information about it now that people can read. There's even a graphic novel written by Sam Hamm, who wrote the first two, that is like what he said, you know, this is what Batman was going to be, called Batman '89, that people can pick up, that shows Harvey Dent becoming Two-Face, and it all becoming quite gnarly. And it really isn't much of a Batman story. It's more of like, it's really Harvey's story. It's really like, you know, what's wrong with Gotham, and the Robin character in that one is a really interesting take on Robin. He's a young kid from Harvey's neighborhood who's like takes on this, I guess, cloaked persona to support his neighborhood, and they call him Robin because they think that he's robbing a store. And they're like, that guy was Robin. He was Robin. And they're like, what did you call him? They're like, he's robbing him. And like stuff like that isn't great. But the version of the character is good. But it's not really a Batman story. But Schumacher's Batman story is a Batman, especially the one that Schumacher wanted to make, and we'll get into that. But
Yeah.
you said like this is very much, Schumacher getting to do what he wants. He almost got to do what he wants. He got to do what he really liked, but there's extras that we never got. But this is the most Batman movie of the three that sort of came before. I think the Joker is really kind of the focus of the first one. Catwoman is really taking a lot of the attention in the second one,
and the Penguin as well. Like that.
The Penguin story.
That's who Burton understands.
Yeah,
he doesn't understand Batman.
Whereas in this one, Dent is already Two-Face when we start.
Yeah,
and the Riddler's transition is almost like it's a side quest. It's like, oh yeah, and also he put this thing on his head, and now he's like smart. We don't know. Never mind. Let's go back to Bruce being real fucked up, and it's really like his girlfriend is a psychiatrust. Like we're really getting into the nitty gritty in this one. It's brilliant.
And it's like,
story.
dream therapy and all that kind of stuff. And I remember thinking last night when I was watching it, like the thematic idea of Bruce actually coming to terms with himself being equal parts Batman and Bruce is quite revolutionary for the character, because even today, creators still play it that Bruce is the mask and Batman is the real dude, but the best version of him is the version that's both of those things. And this is the only time I can think that it fucking happened.
Yeah,
maybe in Grant Morrison's run, he kind of figured that out too when he started Batman Incorporated and stuff. But I feel like this is the distillation of that idea in its purest form, and the arc is so it's so final. Like you really do see that, and there's this really subtle moment where he talks about Robin's parents getting killed and the brother and stuff. And he says, a man steps out into the dark, a scream, 2 shots, I killed them. Yeah. And then, wonderful Alfred Gough says, you said I killed them. Like he's really, there's some real shit going on. And then for him to get to the end and say to Riddler, no, I'm both of these things and that makes me stronger. What a proper story that's being told,
Yeah, the closest I've ever seen Batman and Bruce's like internal struggle get represented on screen is the Mask of Phantasm.
Yeah,
like nothing else has really even come close to Batman Forever in terms of like, oh no, we have to treat these characters like real people in a way that Burton's Batman's they certainly treat them like real people, but not like this. They treated them like real people in a Burton universe, whereas this is like, no, this guy could be an actual human being walking down the street, which is so funny because he walks down the street and the street is the Gotham that Joel Schumacher created, which is not a place that has ever existed on Earth at any point. It's like Neo-Tokyo, but also Greece.
It looks like Megalopolis. There's statues every fucking where, and
he loves the Greek gods statues. I think it's a bit too much, but it is.
And bless him, it's slightly gaudy, but it is. It's maximalist as fuck. This movie, and I'm here for it.
Great. Did we all see this in the cinema? Did we all get on this? Yeah. I thought so. Was it a phenomenon for you guys, like with your friendship group and your schools when it came out? Because I feel like these things sometimes skip regions. It was certainly a big deal for me and my friends who weren't even like Batman or movie people were into this movie.
Well, I'm a white man, so I was paying attention to Batman.
Yeah,
what he was up to. So
I'll be honest, I can't even remember who I went with, to be honest. I just remember where I saw it, and I remember it just being a big deal. Like everyone was buying a ticket for it. It was the biggest thing at my way. And like I said, like the posters were big, the tie-ins to McDonald's and other things, and just even the poster art is so good for this film. I just think it just having all the characters on it, having Batman there, but obviously, the other 4 sort of main characters.
They're still doing this shit now. Look at the Avengers poster. It's exactly the same thing.
I regularly fantasize about getting the Batman Forever poster tattooed on my back. Just that fucking... It's so...
Your fantasies are very different to my fantasies.
I have it up in my room, and oh man, it brings me so much...
But yeah, I do remember... I can't remember if it was that big, but I think the interesting thing is also the tie in the music.
Absolutely.
And I think that just helps, if people... somehow woke up from a coma and didn't know Batman Forever existed. They watched video hits and they knew it existed. Like it's...
like in Australia, at least for a year, we were getting the U2 song played like 5 times a day on Channel V.
And then Kiss by a Rose and...
Like,
well, the Seal song in particular, that and the film clip had so much of the movie in it, and he was singing there in front of the bat signal and stuff. But I must tell you, when that movie came out, my sister was just about to become a teenager, and I didn't know what the scarring on his face was.
Oh right, yeah.
And I was only a kid, so I was like, "What's wrong with his face? Like, what happened there?" And she's like, "He was attacked by a seal. That's why his name's Seal." And I was like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's pretty vicious, but that's where he got his name." Like Christmas, the year I turned 30, I brought that up, and my sister was like, "Do you still think that?" I'm like, "Yeah, isn't that the case?" She goes, "That was a fucking joke. I told you in 1995. And you're now a 30-year-old man?" I was like, "Oh, what was it actually?" She goes, "He had acne, you fucking idiot." Like, it was really... And me and Emily had only just got together, so she now knows immediately that I'm the fuckhead. Like, it was just... Yeah, that I'm a dickhead. Like, it just always sounded so... Oh, that sounds about right. That's why, I mean, you would name yourself after the animal that mauled you. Ridiculous. It's a good song, though.
I mean, we have the internet. We have the internet. You could, anytime you wanted to, between 1995 and whenever it was, at any point, you can be like, let me just fact check this real quick.
No. And then when you say it out loud, it's like when someone tells you about, you actually kind of cognize Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny, and you're like, hang on a minute. And of course, that's ridiculous.
Did you ever see a seal at the zoo or something? You're like,
that's true. You just be like, he'd be slapped around a little bit, But in a rhythm
afterwards, but
yeah,
go down after a day or two, put some ice on it.
Hey, seal, why do you smell like a fucking beach ball? It's ridiculous. Anyway, sorry, way off topic. Val Kilmer's awesome in this.
Yeah. Oh no! Before we move on from Seal, I
don't think we should move on. I think this should be the episode now. Let's figure out what the fuck is going on with Regan.
But in all seriousness, is it?
It's a long show.
I didn't watch all the credits. Is that song in the credits? Because it's one of those weird things where it was heavily tied into the film. Like you said, the film clip is interspersed with.
Because I know the opening credits song is "Hold Me, Kill Me, Kiss Me, Thrill Me." I think if you sit around. I could be wrong.
It must be in the end because it's definitely not in the actual film
that
at
starts
all.
Playing in the credits. No.
I think if you had the VHS, it was one of those things where at the end of the credits, the film clip played.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
If you bought the VHS.
Yeah.
I haven't checked my Blu-ray and my 4K. I don't know if they still put the film clips on.
When I was watching the other day, I was sort of got to the credits, and there's another song playing. I can't remember off the top of my head, and then I got to finding out if it's on there or not. It's just like it is one of those weird things where a lot of the lyrics have nothing to do with the film. The only thing that's got
the song out of context. What the fuck is that doing associated with Batman Forever?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do.
No.
It was just like Warner Music was obviously like, hey, we've got this artist and you've got this movie.
Well, there was the song that R. Kelly did for Batman and Robin where it was all about Gotham being inside us or in all of us. I'm like, that was...
Yeah, but at least that one was trying to kind of be loosely affiliated with the concept of something.
Yeah,
this
true.
is just like a kiss from a rose on the grey. There is so much something can tell you, so much it can say.
Yeah.
I guess you became a light in the dark side of me is the only bit that connects with like chasing.
What's going on. Yeah, that's true.
And then, I mean, obviously
there's a tenuous link.
There's a very tenuous link with the rose and him obviously having flashbacks to his parents' death and when they drop the roses, and then that was the thing that she knocks off the coffee table. But, I mean, very, very, very tenuous. The thing
Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me, it's a banger, it's great, but it would have made more sense as a song in Batman Returns because, like, he's dating a villain. That would make sense. Like, she holds him, she thrills him, she kisses him, and then she fucking scratches him and he has to throw acid on her. Like, that tracks. Chase, there's at no point is Chase trying to kill him. Unless what I genuinely thought when I was a kid and I heard that song, I was like, is the fucking Riddler singing a love song to Batman? Because if you listen to it that way, it sounds like the Riddler has written this song.
He's totally in love with him. I mean, he's
absolutely in love with him.
There's no two ways about it,
No, Schumacher was very blunt about that.
But that's, thinking about...
Bruce Wayne, you love Batman.
Yeah. Thinking about, like you're saying, returns and the kind of relationships that he ends up having with people and stuff. Again, it's so much more progressive than people think it is. His Bruce Wayne, like you said, he's dating a psychoanalyst. Like he's really he's having like flashbacks and repressed memories coming up and trauma that he's then having to deal with. Like, that's not a masculine visage, in air quotations at the time. Yeah, exactly.
1995, that you don't do that back then.
No, and Batman's this hard motherfucker who's just like unchangeable and unyielding, like the Punisher. Like, no, he's not. He's a fucking damaged little kid. Like, let's be realistic about it, And I noticed that so much more on this last rewatch because just last night, and fuck, the 4K looks good. And I felt that so much more now in 2025 than I ever have before. I don't know why.
Well, I think because it is so extremely unique that, Batman, they kind of talk a bit about it in 89, Knox in particular, like talks about what kind of a guy is doing, like he really is pointing out the obvious of this guy's crazy, but it's a very surface of like, this guy's crazy, and then that's it. But in this one, it's like, no, we are going to spend a prolonged period of time, like delving into, and in the deleted scenes, which if anyone listening is like, what deleted scenes? Get on YouTube, they're all there. Yeah, Bruce like goes into a cave and faces his fears and finds his father's diary and regresses back to being literally the boy he was when his dad died. And then this giant fucking bigger than human sized bat appears, and it's a little dance at one point between them about which side is he going to be, because he's been shot in the head in this version and he loses his memory and can't remember being Batman, and then he comes out of the cave and he's like, I'm both. And it's a really like beautiful way to portray his psyche and his broken or fractured psyche. But what fucking hero movie is doing this?
Yeah. Well, do you think as well, just, thinking about those deleted scenes, with Schumacher and Val both gone now, do you reckon someone releases the Schumacher cut? Because it's had screenings. Like, there's been screenings in the States. Like, it's got to happen, right?
We got the Donner cut, we got the Snyder cut. I feel like we've proved that when it comes to like comic book nerdism, our wallets have no bounds. Like, you release a different edition of a much beloved film, and these days Batman Forever is very beloved. Like, there was a period there where it was kind of shit on.
Well, I would argue that
people just put it together with the other one, They were like, they both suck. Well, no, not really.
So I think that there is definitely the opportunity for it. I'm hoping, like, I imagine what they're probably going to do is see what happens with James Gunn's Superman, and perhaps the next like one or two films he does, and be like, is DC back on track? And if we are, hey, how about we start celebrating a bit and like, hey, here's the Schumacher cut. I mean, now would be the time to announce it.
Well, it's 30 years, so
it's 30 years and Kilmer died. Like, announce it now and be like, hey, how great was Val Kilmer? How much do we love him as Batman? Do you want to see some shit you've never seen before? $30, it's all yours. Like,
yeah, the nerd flood would be ridiculous.
It would be so worth it. They would make so much money off it.
If they're going to make the money they're not going to make on that Superman movie, I just really don't think it's going to happen for them. But well, I'd be happily surprised if it does, but I just don't feel like it's going to do the business they want.
That's another episode.
That is, yeah. Sorry, my bad.
They've got
We're on DC shit. I can't help myself.
Yeah, I'd sort of forgotten about that. I guess subplot that they kind of. I feel like they were thorough to a point with it, but then it kind of did get dropped. Like, they didn't really follow through with it so much. The giant bat, like I said, and it wouldn't have been cheap, that big. That bat, like, that was big, and it was really detailed.
Done. The sound effects, the color grading, it's all done. When you,
I just wonder if they thought at one point, from a timing and a pacing issue, but also they were still in the back of their mind. They had the McDonald's and the company going, "Hang on, toys, kids, don't get." Well,
Snyder's original cut was over 3 hours. I can understand why some shit had to go in a kid's.
The Schumacher cut, you mean?
Yeah.
You said Snyder.
Sorry, did I? Jesus Christ, that's a horrible slip of the tongue.
Yeah.
The Schumacher cut.
Yeah, and look,
first submission. There's no way they were going to let that fly. Especially when, like, it's a Jim Carrey movie before Jim Carrey started trying to be legit. Like, he's not 96 minutes, baby, in and out. Let's go. We're not going for big times when you're Jim Carrey.
I mean, this is probably a question for later in the podcast, but I'll ask it now anyway. I've always looked at these 4 films, this era of Batman, as sort of relatively the same continuity, but obviously there's a shift from Burton to Schumacher. But in hindsight, do we now say, no, it's not even that? It's not really a continuity. the Burton stuff is separate from the Schumacher stuff because
No, because I mean, you've still got Alfred Gough and Pat Hingle in there. Like,
And
well,
also,
I guess that
and
is
they
the
talk
continuity.
about the other partners, and then you go 3 to 4, you've still got Chris O'Donnell
Yeah,
in there as Robin. Like, so I think they are all connected. I love the Grant Morrison theory that he put out years ago, which is that like Batman has for so long been subjected to so many toxins and poison, Joker poison and scarecrow gas and things that he's fully fucked up, and so he keeps like almost schisming between like realities, and everything we see has happened from the beginning of the first comic through to whatever the latest iteration is. It's just that like the reason it looks different or seems like sometimes it's really funny and sometimes it's insanely dark and sometimes it's a bit weird is because Batman is just like going through some shit. He's going through some like flashbacks to when he got poisoned that time.
yeah,
And
he's
so
like,
sometimes he sees things in like vivid fucking multicolor neon wonderlands, and sometimes everything's like black and grey, and he's real sad because he's just absolutely gone. And I love that idea.
But it's also like it tracks in terms of the way that you change as a person as well. Like, so he's 20 years old, he's the young urban commando, and he's, out there fighting crime and all that stuff. And then, he gets this kid in there and it becomes a bit more fun, and the Joker stopped killing people and he started attacking people with smiling fish. And then, he's been subjected to so much fear gas whenever he punches people, fucking graphics appear in the air, and that's the Adam West stuff. And then you get to like, so it's just the course of one dude's life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he's like goes back to that way when Grayson buggers off and he's the commando again, and he's like, I'm getting a bit weird, things are getting a bit gut, let's get another kid in here, and Jason Todd comes in and it all goes wrong. Like, it's just, it's all that one continuity. Yeah. But I think for this one in particular, it's definitely the same continuity because Chase, what a grand pursuit you must be. Great line. She says, and I'm sorry, skin tight vinyl and a whip. Like she says, should I wear skin tight vinyl and a whip? You like, don't be so keen to open the door on role playing as your boyfriend's ex, because you might not like the result of what he's like. Yes, definitely do that, because that's not what you want to happen.
Who's
young
ever
lady
going to say no?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Well,
I think
she's
the thing.
I think what we're both talking about there, like the journey of one man's life, applies to these 4 films, because it is like he is all alone at the beginning of Batman, like not just without his parents, but like it's just him and Alfred. He's so alone, and then he meets Vicky Vale, and he comes alive a little bit, but at the same time Joker, and so things definitely get more colorful, but they also get stressful and dark, and then him
They get
don't
nuts.
work out, so he's dark again.
They do. They literally get nuts.
And then he meets Selena, but she's just as dark and fucked up as him, so things don't get any brighter. But then we get to Batman Forever. He meets a Chase who is going to help him with his brain, so he's trying to get mentally healthy.
But who's also like a little bit like, she's crashing the yogurt van as soon as as soon as he turns up, she's like, oh, fucking just all of it off. Like,
I mean, she goes up and flicks on the switch.
Whether or not she's crazy, he's trying to get well, and he sees like a future, and he's wondering about, do I need to be Batman anymore? And then he sees Dick Grayson, he's like, oh, I don't want to turn this kid into me, so maybe I will like try a new direction. And so all those things you talked about are true. Like, he's trying to be more alive, he's trying to be brighter, he's trying to be better. And then Batman and Robin, like, it's working. He's got Robin with him. He's not alone anymore. And then he's got Batgirl as well, and like things are getting brighter and better as he's trying and trying. It's just, it gets too much. He loses himself in like the trying to be something different, and then it all goes away, and it goes away for a very long time until it gets real fucking serious, and he has to have a good talk to himself, and we get Batman Begins. Like, the continuity does line up, but over these 4 films in particular, tracks, and it not only tracks, it tracks like his psyche really well, and also the more like, I guess the more good he feels about himself, the more outwardly attractive he becomes. Like, Keaton's no slouch, but Val Kilmer is beautiful.
Val Kilmer is
And
stunningly
then George
good looking,
Clooney,
yeah.
when he played Batman, was like peak fucking most handsome man in the world cover of People magazine. Like, quite literally, it's like, as Batman feels better about himself, he looks better. He looks so good. By the time you get to Batman, Rob was like, this man is like literally the most fucking beautiful man in the
He's
world.
the most handsome person who's ever lived. And that's what Bruce is supposed to be. He's supposed to be the irresistible playboy. You know, we haven't seen that in a little while because, I mean, like, it definitely didn't happen in Dark Knight Rises. I went to a triple bill of that the other day, of the three of them. You know, he's in a cave for most of it. And then the last Batman we got was Pattinson. Like, and he's not doing that yet. Like, there is no persona yet.
It's all
exactly.
Quite deliberately, like, we're not fucking doing the Bruce Wayne thing. We're just going out there and punching dudes and being a detective.
Yeah.
But on that, like, out of the four, I've heard an argument made, and there was certainly a period in my life where I would have believed it, that Val Kilmer is the best version of Batman in those four that we get. Sorry, of Bruce Wayne of the four that we get, because he sort of does portray those things we talked about. We get the challenge, we get the inner turmoil, we get the dashing, handsome dude who sweeps women off their feet. We get the fucking angry guy who wants to break your face open for wreaking havoc on the world, and we get someone who's trying to be the middle. That we never, like, Keaton is the all-time greatest in my brain, but he's doing a very specific, very weird Bruce Wayne, and George is being like just fucking Mr. Fantastic Bruce Wayne.
He's not being George Clooney, like
he's not being the broken, troubled man. He's just like, if I smile a bit crooked like this, ladies are going to drop their panties.
Yeah,
and they do. What do you guys think about that idea? Like, even Schumacher, who did not like Val Kilmer by the end of this movie, still
we've got to circle back to that later, but it's interesting. I think Val Kilmer, I don't know what the runtime is for his on screen, but it does feel like we see a lot more of Bruce in this film compared to any of the other Batman films, whether it's him in Batman or I just feel like we see him more as Bruce Wayne as well, and we see more of him in total. When you look back at, I think, Reeves, what did you say? Michael Keaton, is he only in Batman Returns for like 20 minutes or something?
Yeah, like 17 minutes or something ridiculous. Yeah,
it's the same. It's a bit like his Beetlejuice performances. He only pops up and makes it worth your while in those ones too. I do think, in fair, like, we do get more Val and we do get more character stuff, and he's probably got more stuff to do. I can't even really remember the last time I watched Batman and Robin, so I can't comment on George's appearance so much as Bruce, but it's Reeves.
I think I have to agree with that consensus, Gus. I think he's the best. As I said, Batman Returns is still my favorite, and I love Keaton. But I think Val is doing something very specific with both of those roles, and then by the end of it, he's blended them together. Like, he's actually acting.
Yeah.
Because you'll forget, like we were saying off mic, Gus, he's a character actor. He just ended up being the pretty boy lead guy kind of by proxy. But if you look at his body of work, and then if you look at stuff that he did after it, like when he did the live stage production of him playing Mark Twain, like, he's incredible. Or The Saint, where he's switching between these different characters and stuff. Like, Spartan's a really great one as well. The David Mamet picture where he plays a scout sniper kind of guy. He was a character actor, and he's doing something like the Bruce Wayne he's got is very stiff and kind of twitchy. And then he's sort of very, and then when he's not that, he's the Bruce Wayne that he is when he's with Alfred. And that's a different thing as well. He's more relaxed. His shoulders are down, and then he's got the Bat voice, and he's got the Bat persona, and the physicality of it. Like where Dick says to him, what should my name be? Bat Boy, Nightwing, whatever. You owe me. You can't stop me. And he stands up and says, "I can stop you." That's Batman. I think he's doing a lot with it. Absolutely. So yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that. I think he's probably the best out of those four. Even though I would, if it was marry, fuck, kill.
Of course. Well, I don't even know if he's my. I think Keaton is my favorite, and as the guy in the suit, I don't know, but just as Bruce Wayne, Kilmer always just like nailed it for me. He was incredible. Looking at like the screen time that they got, so Batman screen time by actor. Number 7, George Clooney, 32 minutes. Number 6, Val Kilmer. That movie's
over 2 hours long as well. That's fucked up.
There's 32 minutes of Batman in that movie. There's 44 minutes of Batman in Batman Forever with Val. Uh, just not the TV series, just the movie Batman 66. Adam West had 48 minutes. Keaton, the two movies combined, had 64 minutes. So in two movies, Keaton only had 20 more minutes of screen time than Kilmer did in one movie. So you're right. Kilmer is in this movie a lot more. And then Pattinson, who has only done one movie, 129 minutes. So when you watch The Batman, you're really getting some fucking Batman, which is good. And he's
That's
only
a long movie too.
It took Bale 3 movies to beat him with 151 minutes. So he didn't beat him by much. And then number one is Affleck. And it took Affleck, Batman versus Superman, The Flash, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Not the original Justice League cut. That's not included. Suicide Squad is included. It took him getting those 3 very long movies to get him to 158 minutes. So, like, pound for pound, movie for movie, if you're just looking at one movie, Kilmer's up there with the biggest screen time. And I think for just one movie, the only person who beats him is Pattinson. Yeah. So we're getting a lot of Batman from our Batman in this movie.
Well, which is interesting considering the amount of time that they give the Riddler. Yeah. Because it's an origin story for him. Yeah. And yet you still do come back. And Jim's great. Like, I don't know how much it was ad-lib. I've looked for the script last night online, and there is a version of it that Kiva Goldsmith wrote, but it's really different. Like, there's not, like, in terms of what was shot and stuff, I guess they were rewriting on the fly, but he's... I'm having a breakdown. No, I'm having a breakthrough and a breakdown. Maybe, like, it's just he's fantastic. And the one that got me last night, I've never noticed this before, and God bless 4K, all of you out there, you know, get physical media, it's worth it. He's written his boss's suicide note. Yes. And it says, from such and such, you know, my suicide. I was like in the memo part of it, he's like, it's a cruel world, goodbye, or whatever. Fucking hell, it killed me. Yeah.
But even the leader, he's crying. He's like, oh, he was like a brother. He was like a father to me. And then he goes, oh, you'll find out this. He left this letter. The sentence structure
matches perfectly. Yeah. He's really good. He's really good. You know, he's doing a lot, and I don't really know. Yeah, like the scene where he walks into his house and the Weezer song is playing, is just fucking. That's a beautiful origin moment. You know, that's the hell here moment for me. You know.
Yes, he's great at it too. Like, I don't think people really fully like appreciate how good Carrey is in this movie these days, because I don't know, they look to other films to like point out his genius, or they like, you know, point to this movie to be like, he's not good, depending on which side of the fence you fall on. But he's brilliant in this film. Yeah. Like, his physicality, his menace, like he's genuinely upsetting in a few scenes where you're like, this guy would absolutely fucking kill you. It's brilliant.
I do wonder, you know, you're saying looking for the script. I feel like either actor they could have had was always going to ad-lib, so they would have had a basic outline of what to say and then just go for your life, because Robin Williams was supposedly, at least initially, tied to this role, at least when Burton was
promised this role is what he was, and then away from him with that.
So you sort of think about Robin Williams and you sort of feel like, well, both these guys are just, you know, great ad-libbers and just will do 13, 14 takes or something and find the best one, or just go pick from whatever you got. So it wouldn't surprise me if...
Do you know who allegedly was in between Williams and Carrey in being offered the role?
Johnny Depp?
No, look, I mean, maybe there's 1,000 different reports. What I read was Steve Martin was offered the role. He was originally offered the role of Knox in Batman 89 and turned it down because he was like, I don't think I want to do that. And then when 89 was a hit, he was like, maybe I do want to do this. And they talked to him about the Riddler, and when Burton wasn't doing it anymore, he was like, nah. And there's
I can understand that though.
There's a lot of like maybes that went on with this cast. Like, obviously Keaton was initially, he wasn't out. A lot of people were like, oh yeah, he was out straight away. He wasn't. He was on. And really,
well, this is the thing. There's conflicting reports on that. Yeah.
Well, I found, again, I don't know if this is a bit of revisionist history from Keaton, but I've read like from him directly in interviews that he was saying, he was in and he met with Schumacher, and then he was like, this isn't the direction that
this isn't where I want to go.
I would agree with you. I think something I watched only recently was I think they thought Keaton was still in because a lot of the early models of the suit were based on his body and his likeness, so they were at least working with it.
They had cast Rene Russo as Chase Meridian to play opposite him. And then when he backed out, she lost the role because they're like, you're too old to be Kilmer's love interest, which, calm down.
Yeah.
But instead of having, I think at the
Rene
time...
Russo in night, so she went and been in Lethal Weapon 3 instead.
She was 6 years older than Kilmer, and they went instead for Kidman, who was 6.5 years younger.
And didn't look like she was a woman in a bottle yet.
Everything's fine, and there's no problems of misogyny in Hollywood. It's absolutely fine.
But as a young,
you can't be too old for him. You have to be definitely too young for him.
Yeah.
That's what viewers want to see. So there's a lot
of...
of...
No offense to Rene Russo, but I think they made the right choice there. Did they not? Or...
Nicole's great, yeah. And she gets it too.
I think
she did the reading.
Anything, yes. I think Rene Russo is too... I want to say too confident. Like, her persona always appears to be someone who knows what she's doing. And as you talked about before, like when Chase sees Batman, like the wheels come off immediately. So you need that element.
That's not what I said, but yeah.
She crashed the yoga cart, I believe, something to that effect. But yeah, like she does have this sense of like you lose your professionalism and your confidence and your ability to form sentences when you see Batman. And you're really only capable of like getting your words back together when he's gone. And I don't know if I would have bought that as much from Rene Russo. I feel like you could like stick a gun in her face and she'd convince you why you should hand it over and let her shoot you. And I'd be like, this makes sense. I believe you, Rene Russo.
Oh, you're right, Miss Russo.
But I do feel like it's funny. I feel bad for Rene Russo, but I kind of get it. Like when an actor leaves a role, like you do think about the chemistry and the look, and 100%. Like I understand those two, Keaton and Russo, would have been good, but I definitely think they made the right choice going this way with Nicole Kidman. I think it just.
Well, here's a question for you then. If that's the case with Nicole Kidman, we'll come back to Tommy. I just want to ask about Robin because
it's too old.
Yeah.
For starters. I really like the idea of where the name came from, the origin of his name.
Yeah.
Where he tells a story about flying in like a robin to save his brother. That was really cool. I like that a lot. But is it weirder that he's a 25-year-old man or that he's not a 13-year-old boy? Like, what's...
Yeah.
Because who would you have cast otherwise?
Split the difference? Like, we have him be 19?
So who would that have been? Because I thought Joseph Gordon-Levitt at the time, ironically.
He's too short. He's too short against Kilmer. He would have looked like a little child against me, and maybe that would have worked depending on the movie you were making.
Who's the kid from Home Improvement?
Taylor Thomas. Same thing. He stayed short as well, and he also dropped out of acting. How old? This might sound insane.
Do you have the list in front of you? Because I feel like
in 1995.
What was that?
How old was Christian Bale in 1995?
Well, because he was on that list.
Because I think he could be...
Well, he would have been...
He was in the mix.
16, 17 probably?
There's an alternate history that would have been interesting.
I could have sworn I heard Leonardo DiCaprio was in that mix as well.
Yes, he was in talks and he stepped away when Schumacher came on as well, is the reporting that I read.
Nah, I don't want my cock out. Don't want my cock and my nipples out, thanks. Thanks, Joel. I'll see you later. Well, I think, you know who would have been also good.
Go back into that world again. Thank you.
When did I don't want to wait? What is it? Dawson's Creek start.
That started in 96, 95. Did it start the same
probably
year?
97. The Scream was 96, so
it was the year after.
Yeah.
So maybe Joshua Jackson would have been a teenager.
Joshua Jackson would have been a great Robin, especially if they were going for that vibe. He's got a real similar vibe to Chris O'Donnell. He just is not as old.
Except he doesn't have a terrible sideburns and an earring that makes him look like he's had sex on camera.
Schumacher thought it would make him look hip.
Wrong.
98 was Dawson's Creek, by the way, before people start emailing us. 98, we know. Leave us alone.
Before they start emailing us.
We don't always know the year.
Getting mad emails from the internet. I love
that. It's funny, we're talking about different casting and stuff.
People never get in touch and be like, that was a really interesting episode. They'll be like, Dawson's Creek was actually 1998. He's like, "Fuck you! I've forgotten what we were even talking about. Don't do it.
Well,
We don't remember."
You know, we're talking about all these different casting and how things changed from Burton to Schumacher, and that's why I asked the question, because I know obviously I've always seen these four movies as the one continuity. Obviously, Alfred and, like you said, Pat Hingle are consistent right through. A lot of the stuff is quite consistent, but there is this sort of jump from, again, the darkness of Batman Returns to Forever, kind of lightening it up a little bit, and then obviously you go full camp and almost like the old TV show in Batman and Robin. But the other one that's really interesting is Harvey Dent, that was played in the first two movies. Billy D. Williams, he saw some shit that really turned him white, because he's fucking Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Forever. And I always feel bad because I feel like it would have been. I understand why they went with Tommy Lee, and that was, again, a Schumacher thing that came from. Did he work with him in The Client?
Just before they did Batman Forever in 1994, they did The Client. And
I get it, but I was kind of like, oh, you know, they had Harvey Dent in the first, well, at least he was in the first one and mentioned in the second, and you knew it was Billy D. Williams. So it's weird that he's now gone from African American to some white bloke. And then also Marlon Wayans was supposed to be Robin the first time around, and he kind of got cut twice. And yeah.
So I think if this is all what you can like experience if you read the Batman '89 comic graphic novel I was talking about. This is all what happened. So the Harvey Dent in that is Billy D. Williams. Like it's his likeness they've used, and the Robin is a young African American kid who looks a hell of a lot like Marlon Williams. So Marlon Wayans. So I know he got paid to not be in Batman Returns. But I hope they paid him again to use his likeness.
They would have had to. Yeah.
There is like a full done story that has all these things, and it is quite interesting. I don't know what happened, like for them not, because I can't think of a good reason for them not to cast Billy D. Williams again in this bigger, like more important version of Harvey Dent, because he would have been great at it. He would have been really, really good. And I think he's quite capable of making the transition from Burton's like semi-serious kind of like quirky world to a far more colourful one. Like Alfred Gough doesn't mix a beat. He doesn't even like, imagine like being in his shoes was like brand new Batman, totally different fucking style. You're still Alfred. Still be Alfred, but we're going to make it like, especially by the time he gets to Batman and Robin, when it's a flat out comedy. And somehow still he's just like, no, sir, I know my lane. It's like, you're not a fucking guiding star. And Pat Hingle as well was like really good. But it is a great kind of like middle finger to Billy Williams, I think, that he didn't get given the character's like culmination. You know, he stuck it out doing fuck all for 1 and a bit movies, and then
he's not in the second one.
He's just talked about, isn't he?
There's no Billy D in the second one.
He doesn't even have a cameo.
He's too busy.
That's right.
Running for whatever. But I feel like maybe he might have. Maybe he didn't want to do it. I don't know. Like the same situation.
I hope he said no and not the other way
around. But I do feel like there was a transition where, you know, we've touched on it a couple of times with different actors, that there was a thought of coming back with a third one, like Michael Keaton, Billy D. Williams, if Tim Burton was at the helm and with some of his ideas, and Marlon was signed up, like I said, for Returns, and then believed to be he was going to be in Forever, which whatever it was going to be. Was it going to be called Batman Continues, I think, with Tim Burton? That's Marlon Wayans was like, no, we'll have you in this one. And then it was like, once Tim decided to step away and just be a producer, and Joel took the reins, Joel started making changes, or at least wanting to have his vision. So that's why, that's what I've been led to believe over the years, was that's why some people essentially got cut and recast.
It is interesting, like when I'm looking at the poster right now, and not a single person on the fucking poster was in the first two movies, and that sounds like it should be more of a problem than it is. And only one character on the poster was in the first two movies. Like we
didn't give a shit about that stuff.
We really
back then.
didn't.
It's not like I was thinking about. I was talking to someone the other day about Jonathan Majors getting booted from Marvel and them not just recasting Kang. Like, remember Next Time, Baby?
Yeah,
and there was no Next Time, Baby.
There was no Next Time, Baby.
There was
you left
Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
Like, but I back then it sort of didn't seem like as big of a thing. Like, even when I was a kid, I was like, oh, there's a new one, okay. Like it's whatever. Like
Because
in the
guess
same
when you're a kid,
continuity
you're
as
like, I
well.
don't
Like
give a shit. Can you just fucking put on the suit and punch? I just want to see Batman.
yeah, I
don't
want
care
to
whose
tell me the
face is under
story.
the mask. Punch a fucking bad guy. Let's go.
But you bring up a funny point. It is funny when they recast and they think it's not an issue, and they think you're not going to notice, and then other times they go, "Oh no, we couldn't recast that," and then you go, "Well, yeah." It's just they seem to pick and choose. Depends on the character.
Yeah, and I can't be precious about it. I must say though, you mentioned Michael Goff is fantastic in this and has to deal with like ninja laundry.
Yeah.
Which is a great name for a band, by the way, and all this fucking fetish, imagery that's going on around this 80-year-old man. And the other one, Pat Hingle, what the fuck is the police commissioner doing at the circus? No, what's he going to the sex for? Like, shouldn't he be at work? Like, tell me, I don't know who our police commissioner is, but he's not going to the circus in Melbourne. Like, absolutely not.
He's not.
Not in full dress gear. Like, he might go on his off hours, but he's got the hat on and stuff.
Yeah, don't overthink it. It's a comic book movie.
Yeah. Community pride, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was
We're taking
weird.
Gotham back. The underworld.
I just thought it was funny that when he came to the bat signal, he had to come up onto the roof and he's in his PJs and just got a dressing gown on and she's disrobing and then quickly putting stuff back on and he's like,
sound like Huckleberry Hound and shit. What about, I'm just thinking about Tommy Lee Jones though. I was thinking about it last night. Is this the last time he was crazy? Because after Men in Black, he got real stiff.
You might be right. And look, maybe it's something to do with this movie. I mean, famously, he cannot sanction your buffoonery.
Yeah.
One of the great, I guess, insults of all time, which happened at a restaurant during filming. Tommy Lee Jones was having dinner. Jim Carrey saw him there. There'd been some friction, but Jim was like, yeah, whatever, man. Like, went over
about to work together
and said, like, hey, how's it going, Tommy? Like, great to see you. What's going on? And he said, Tommy Lee Jones looked at him and the blood drained out of his face and he started, like, visibly shaking and he thought he was going to murder him. And then he just started saying, I do not like you. I hate you. I just hate you. And Jim Carrey was like, what's the problem, man? And he said, I cannot sanction your buffoonery. Which is
a little fresh considering.
Well, that's what I think he's in this movie.
Under Siege.
But yeah, I think you're right. Like, if you look at Tommy Lee Jones, and look, there's other things that have come out. Apparently, Tommy Lee Jones was pissed at Jim Carrey because Dumb and Dumber was released the same weekend as Cobb, which was a film that was like a passion project for Tommy Lee Jones. And didn't do well at the box office because everyone went to see Dumb and Dumber and no one went to see Cobb, which I don't think that's Dumb and Dumber's fault, but I think I can understand that. So he was already pissed at this guy. Yeah, after this he does Volcano, which is a goofy movie, but he's not goofy in it. Men in Black, he's a bit goofy, and then U.S. Marshals, he's back to the well. Another sequel that I'm sure will show up on this show at some stage. I guess the closest he gets to Goofy is he does a voice in Small Soldiers with Joe Dante's film.
But that's actually quite serious, that movie. If you look at those dolls are trying to kill those kids. They're not fucking around.
And then he gets into his real, he gets into kind of the role that he does from then on with Double Jeopardy, where he plays, I guess, just a version of Samuel Girardi's character from Fugitive and U.S. Marshals.
He's Ashley Judd's parole officer, isn't he?
Yeah, and he lets her know you can't be punished for the same crime twice, and she's like,
which is not true, by the way. Everybody, don't go out there doing double crimes.
Do not base any of your life on 1999 films made by Australian Bruce Beresford. Rules of engagement, hard-ass military guy, or self-assured, fix-it man. Really, is it? Space Cowboys is kind of an outlier, but he's the serious one in Space Cowboys. Donald Sutherland is like the goofball. The Hunted, The Missing. Jesus, get grim, don't they? No Country for Old Men. He's brilliant, but he's not goofy.
Hunted is dark. I mean, it's a freaking picture, so it's not surprising. But that movie is bleak.
Sunset Limited, which is based on a play by Cormac McCarthy, which is about racism, real dark. Lincoln, The Homesman, Born. Yeah, he gets really, really serious. I guess
you'd never see this cartoony version again. Is my point.
I haven't seen
he's
The Burial,
really
which
swinging
is
for
an
the
Amazon
fences.
film from 2023 with him and Jamie Foxx, and apparently that's a bit funny, but I don't know if he's funny in it.
Yeah, right. Oh, Hope Springs.
Is he funny in that?
he is, but only because he's playing the straight man to Meryl Streep.
Oh,
Sorry, Kate, what were you saying?
Well, do you think this is probably one of my nitpicks of this movie? I don't really love Tommy Lee in this film as Two-Face. Well, I just think there's a lot of really good stuff with the Riddler and like all the stuff that's talked about with Val Kilmer where, he has this, I guess, this crisis of identity and the flashbacks and does he want to be Batman anymore? All these things going on with him. And then he's got the new hot girlfriend, Chase Meridian, who is a therapist that can kind of psychoanalyze him. But then at one point she wants Batman, so she knocks him back, but then she realises she likes him and she doesn't want Batman. There's all this stuff going on. Then there's the stuff with Robin. And so maybe Tommy Lee wasn't given the opportunity to have some really cool stuff. But we get the flashback where he gets the acid on the face, but we really don't get any great character development from him because he's already in that phase. So we don't have an origin story for him necessarily. And there's no real, I don't know, he does the coin thing, but I just think he acts like a wacko like the Joker in the first movie. I don't know if he really gives anything great character-wise. So I feel like from that point of view, and again, this might fall on Joel, this might fall on just the script, I don't know, but I just don't think there's any great character stuff for him. It's just like he's just a crazy, loony villain that wants to kill Batman.
They're trying to do the dual personality thing where he refers to himself in third person, the second person brother, and he's drinking 2 drinks. And I'm sorry, can we just for a second? Is this Drew Barrymore like peak teen fantasy?
She's old. She's 20 years old in this movie.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention her when I was reeling off the names.
Her and Debbie Mazar are the sugar and spice characters in this.
Yes, for different reasons, but yes to both of those. Thank you. That would be especially the 1995 Riggs, who was on the verge of becoming a teenager.
I was so familiar with Drew Barrymore when Batman Forever came out. I was like, oh fuck, Drew Barrymore's doing like a little cameo in this like movie. That's crazy. No, she was 20 years old and was I think she was starting her comeback after her drug troubles. But, my God.
Did she do Poison Ivy before this or after?
Yeah, it would have been before.
Before, yeah.
No, that's right, because she was only 17 when she did that.
Oh, really?
Which is pretty perfect, yeah. Nearly as bad as Melanie Griffith in Night Moves. Who was like 15 14. Or something.
Real bad.
Super fucked up. I watched that the other night because of Gene.
Such a good movie.
Excellent film. Really good film.
I think you're onto something there, Cable. I don't think that Tommy Lee Jones is doing a bad job of Two-Face. I think the movie's doing a bad job with Two-Face. I don't think they give...
Yeah.
Because he's such an incredibly interesting character, and when he's done well, it's fascinating, watching this person struggle with knowing that their brain is broken. They literally are split into, and being aware of that, and when Harvey Dent gets control and he's so just shattered and aware of the fact that this other part of him is stronger, and he fights till he get control and he can't, and then Two-Face takes back over. It's mostly in the animated series.
I was about to say that's where they do it best,
and it's heartbreaking. Oh my God, and it is a wasted opportunity. And that is probably the thing that I think that the Batman 89 comic gets best is the battle between Harvey and Two-Face as two separate things. And it is a huge missed opportunity in a movie where you are deeply exploring the split psyche of Bruce Wayne and Batman to not parallel that with a villain that literally is split in two with their face and personality, and to instead focus on the goofy guy in the tights. I think they dropped the ball there. I think for this movie, that's the right choice, because otherwise you've got a hero and a villain who are both not quite a hero or a villain, and are really broken and sad. And when you're trying to reboot it to be a bit more colourful in 1995, if Robert Pattinson's next villain in the Batman 2 is Two-Face, fucking perfect. Let's go to town on stripping ourselves down to the bare bones and crying ourselves to sleep. Let's do it. But in 95, no, we really had to have him have a pink face and just go, rah!
Yeah, I think it's one of those things too, because we do quickly get a little serious Two-Face when we're in the Christian Bale films, where we have Aaron Eckhart become Two-Face, but we've seen who he was before the accident, and then this has happened. But then there's no real growth. We don't see much past that, unfortunately. But I guess you're right too. Like, I think it's just sad because it is that it's very comic booky and kind of that colourful world of let's be more like the comic book. Let's not be super dark. So we are going to have these silly cliches, like you said. Like, he's got a suit that's completely his DA suit on one side, and then this crazy colourful whatever, and then the fact that he's got sugar and spice, and they're both made in these completely out of this world. Like, one's a
that is the most unbelievable thing I think about any of the Batman movies is that 46-year-old Tommy Lee Jones, who also has half his face melted off and is insane, has Debbie Mazar and 20-year-old Drew Barrymore waiting on him hand and foot.
Yeah.
Like, what? He doesn't. But where? Like.
Yeah.
Come on, he's got a.
The finger thing means the money. Like, I mean, come on. He's got diamonds on diamonds, man.
Like, they.
Half his dick's burnt. I mean, it's. I mean, I'm assuming. Oh, no, it's just his face.
Yeah, it's just,
I don't know.
His face and a bit of his hand.
I don't know how far that acid went down.
But
I think the most unrealistic thing is... What's that?
Well, like you said, they're drinking two completely different drinks. And
it's funny. The one that is unrealistic to me is that he's eating 2 dinners every night. I'm like... You don't look like that if you eat 2 dinners.
Yeah, I totally get it. I know, it's for the gag, it's funny, and when you're a kid, you're like, oh, that makes sense. We rationale, but like, I guess as an adult, we're trying to look back at this movie. You know what I mean? It's like,
just like when you're a kid, you're going, why does he have 2 women? That doesn't make any sense.
No, probably.
My dad's like, yes, it does. It absolutely does.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you're watching, it's like, so what I'm learning is if I burn my face off and shoot some people, I get Drew Barrymore and Debbie Mazar. Is that what you're saying? Right,
and one of them's really lovely, and I can take home to mum, and the other one does butt stuff. Like, is that what's happening here?
And that also works for if you get attacked by a seal, and then you get a supermodel. It works.
Wow, the Batman Forever really, like, it's doing a lot to, like, break down the beauty myth, isn't it?
It really, really
It's
is.
who you are on the outside.
That's. I mean, it does a lot for that, honestly, but it also does a lot for the thought of Bruce Wayne's love life. Because, I mean, all these movies, they become like Bond films in the sense that, like, he has a different woman every one. At one point, he says to Alfred, I've never been in love before, Alfred. Well, maybe Vicky Vale and Selena Kyle can go fuck themselves then? Is that what's up? Like, that's ridiculous.
I mean, I think we can all, now that we're honest, we can all look back and we can say he was in lust with Selena Kyle. That wasn't love. That was just like,
weren't we all?
Sometimes you've just got to go a couple of rounds with.
But it's funny you bring that up too, because I did think that too, when watching it, he says that, and I was kind of like, well, and again going back to the continuity, I was like, well, that kind of feels like that doesn't line up with what we've known in the first 2 films. And you're right, Angus, there could have been a bit of lust in there, but I do feel like him and Vicky had something there. So I don't know. I
think the real love story is him and Robin in this episode in this film, and no more pointedly than the moment where he saves Robin from the Neo gang, the gang with all the makeup on and stuff like that glows in the dark. And he's like, it should have been you if you weren't so selfish when you're at the circus. And he says, if Bruce Wayne could have given his life for your family, he would have. Like, that's real pathos going on. And I think their story is kind of the stronger of the 2 love stories.
Actually, speaking of that...
I was going to say another great fact about that scene is the Batmobile was always driven by a stunt driver, but Chris O'Donnell insisted that in the joyride scene, he drove the Batmobile and he immediately crashed it and dented the fender and fucked up the day's shooting.
Of course he did.
So that's what else went on in that scene.
Yeah.
Someone get me Joshua Jackson in here. Fuck.
It's really funny when you think you know someone, you go, hang on, I reckon that voice sounds, and I don't know if it was ADR work or the real voice at the time, but the main villain in that scene with all the in the street, and he speaks to him. I can't remember what he says. Anyway, long story short, I could have sworn, I'm like, is that David Bautista? And I had to go looking for it, and it wasn't. But because of the face,
it does sound like him. I can hear the voice. Yeah,
yes, it sounds exactly like him, and it's just the face. And I'm like, the shape of the face. I'm like, back in '95, that could have been him. And I was just like,
I think it's a black dude.
No, he actually, I'm pretty sure the picture I saw on IMDb, he might even be Asian.
Wow.
That's right.
Okay. That's
yeah,
just.
but because he has so much
whole
face
new
paint,
world.
and it's all that that fluoro, paint. I was like, but the voice, I'm like, that's David Bautista. But anyway, there you go.
Well,
I
who
like
is
that scene a lot.
in this movie that you'd be like, is that John Favreau is in this movie?
Yes, he is.
As an assistant.
Shut the fuck up.
John Favreau is in this movie.
Hang on, you did not watch the 4K if you did not see John Favreau.
I'm not
He's
looking
in
for
there.
John Favreau all the time, so
he's in
it's
this.
my
Just a-
favorite
Bruce
cameo in
Wayne.
this is Bob Zamuda is in this as an electronic store owner. And if you don't know who Bob Zamuda is, just think back to Jim Carrey's one of his greatest roles ever, Man on the Moon. Bob Zamuda was Andy Kaufman's real life counterpart, who helped him, with all his shenanigans. And the actual Bob Zamuda is in this friggin' movie.
that's crazy.
That's a fun little cameo just for him to pop in. I have no idea how or why he showed up. Obviously, he knows a lot of people in the industry.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a weird and brilliant cameo. Those are probably the two best cameos I could find.
As Regan's looking up to fact check whether.
I know, there he is. Look at the motherfucker.
Yeah.
There he is.
You're about to direct Iron Man in 12 years.
Skinny and suave, like post Swingers, post Maid era when he was just like.
Oh,
jacked.
no.
He was svelte.
No, Maid was after this, though.
Was made after 95. When the
Yeah. Maid's almost early 2000s, isn't it?
Get out.
Yeah, no, Swingers would have been around this time.
Swingers was 96.
Yeah.
So Swingers was the very next year. When the fuck is Maid?
Maid's like 99, 2000. Because I remember I was in uni when I went and saw it.
That came out of the cinema? Fuck no.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw it in Northland Heights. And yes, there wasn't a lot of people in there.
No, I was going to say, geez, it would have been a small one.
You have to really, I think, especially with Maid, you have to like Vince Vaughn to deal with that film.
Yeah, he's a bit hit and
Maid
miss
was
for me. honestly.
2001.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah.
Man.
Wow.
Maid is great. It's also incredibly depressing in the third act.
Yeah.
Fucking
So you're saying
rug
that
out.
maybe it caused 9/11?
Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying.
They saw it and they're
saying-
like, that's it. Just
That's
they're
a really
like,
funny
blow the
cameo.
place
This was really fun. It's the guys from Swingers.
Yeah.
This looks like such a good time. And you watch it and you get to the third act and you're like, what? I'm so fucking sad.
And that's got a
Terrible.
funny cameo. Dustin, what's his name? Saved by the Bell, who's no longer with us as well.
Dustin Diamond, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
He's in- yeah.
Stabbed a guy in a bar fight.
Here's something you might be able to help me out with.
Yeah.
This is off topic, but it's superhero
Oh,
stuff.
but Dustin Diamond is not.
That's very true. The Green Power Ranger killed a dude, right?
Yeah, he did.
With a samurai sword.
I think that's the story, yeah.
It was his housemate.
Yeah, something really, really mundane was going on, and then he wound up killing a guy.
And is he dead now?
That's a great question.
Is that the one that killed himself recently?
The Green Power Ranger, I think, killed himself.
Yeah.
And I'm only asking because I was saying it to Addy on my show the other day. If that's the case, there might be a Megazord sitting idle somewhere that we can get in. And they left the keys in the Megazord and popped down the shops in a fucking Tyrannosaurus. You're fact checking here, guys?
I'm fact checking, yes, it was, he did pass away as a result of suicide.
And his Megazord is...
misleading. There's a misleading query there, which was which Power Ranger died on 9/11, and I was like, "Are we coming full circle?"
Hang on a minute.
And it was Tui Trang, who played the original Yellow Ranger, died in a car accident 3 days before 9/11. So
Holy shit.
not related at all. Yeah, but yeah, he did. He killed his roommate. I'm just trying to find any kind of specificity.
Just while you're looking up, I did see another thing today on Instagram that said the original producer of the American version of the Power Rangers said that it was a mistake casting an African American as the Black Power Ranger and an Asian girl as the Yellow Power Ranger. And I'm like, no shit! Like, that was a bad idea then.
Are they not rebooting this again and doing a movie?
Yeah, Disney's doing it.
Yeah.
So no,
of course Disney are doing it.
This is the.
They've got everything. He's PN now, for fuck's sake.
Ricardo Medina Jr., who played the Red Lion Wild Force Ranger on Power Rangers, stabbed his roommate to death. So
But he's still alive, though.
He's still alive. He's not one of the originals.
Right.
I think he's still in jail.
Okay, so that makes more sense because the Green Power Ranger was very much celebrated when he passed away last year. by a lot of the fans and stuff. And because
So
I
the
think
original Green Power Ranger and the original Yellow Ranger passed
Yeah,
away. And the
and
original Blue Ranger won't have anything to do with it because of the rampant homophobia on set when he was there.
because I was going to say the green, and it's terrible. Do we have a name for Green Power Rangers? Because I'm not a Power Rangers person. So
Tommy
Tommy was the character, and the
Oh,
actor's
fuck.
name was Ricardo.
Montalban.
No, Ricardo was the one
No
Who's in the
disrespect
Naked Gun,
to
which
the,
I
to the
always
green
want.
and white.
Jason David Frank was
Jason,
the guy who played Tommy the Green.
He was also the White Power Ranger as well.
Yes.
Because I was going to say, I feel like in the last few years he was very one that would do the Comic Cons
White
and
Power
really.
Ranger. I just heard it.
He was though, like
No, I know, but I never heard it when I was a kid. That one of the Power Rangers is the White Power Ranger.
oh shit!
It just
How did
never
Key and
occurred
Peele
to-
not do that sketch?
just
Come on,
never-
I'm the White Power Ranger. Hang on a second, is there a comma somewhere there? Because if there isn't, we're in trouble.
Just seeing the background, the Black Power Ranger, be like, what the?
He's got a swastika on his chest. It's supposed to be a tiger. Like what
Fine,
the fuck?
It's fine. It's fine. He raps. It's fine. Don't worry. He's cool. His name's Ye. Everyone likes him. It's fine.
He raps. Fucking talk about getting off topic. Sorry. Sean's not even here.
No.
I don't think anyone committed any horrible crimes on the set of
Batman Forever.
except
Well,
for
well-
allegedly,
Yes.
Val Kilmer shoved Joel Schumacher. But that
Shoved him.
shoved him. So apparently they did not get along. They got into a screaming match. Val shoved him, but also potentially Joel shoved him first. But Val Kilmer wouldn't talk to him for 2 weeks at all
Yes.
on set during filming,
Wow.
which has widely been reported for years and was kind of debunked a bit by Kilmer and then like rebunked. And he was like, "Yeah, some shit went down." But Kilmer and Schumacher didn't like each other, and Schumacher refused to ever work with or talk to Val Kilmer again right up until his death. But he did concede that he did a great job in the film. In fact, his quote is, "Val Kilmer did me two great services when I was making Batman Forever. Number one is when I asked him to play Batman, he said yes. And number two is he made it so that he could never play Batman again. And I didn't have to work with him in the next one. And both of those were great, great services to me." And I was like, "Oh, Jesus."
Bit sassy. I think he also went on to do The Saint, and they had to like pull the trigger because they wanted the Warner Brothers was so happy with how well Forever had done. They were like, "We need to get the other one in pre-pro now," and Val was like, "Well, I'm doing The Saint, so I'm already I've already signed on for it." So he couldn't have done it anyway.
And I feel like in like the arc of history, Kilmer won that one because The Saint is a better movie than Batman and Robin.
Not by much.
Not by much, but it's more.
No, it is
like,
pretty good.
pretty enjoyable. I
Good
can
Rage
rewatch
the
The
Bajer
Saint
in that one.
any old time and just have a pretty silly fun time. No matter how much I try to turn my brain off and just have a good time, I still struggle real hard with Batman and Robin. Especially the older I get, the more I'm like, why did we do this?
Just smoke a little weed and then I can have a go at it because it's just colourful and silly.
I think when I was a kid, I was like, that people were like, "Hey, how's Batman and Robin?" And I just would have gone, "Alicia Silverstone," and that would have been my response. Like, is it a good movie? It's like Alicia Silverstone in tights.
The crazy thing is, like, I mean, I 100% Alicia Silverstone, but I was she under contract for another movie at Warner Brothers anyway, so she kind of was, whether she wanted to do it or not, she probably like, wow, this is another one I can tick
It's hard
another.
to say, like, especially pre-internet, like, hype machine, because she was so, like, she was, like, the forefront
No,
of the
but
press tour.
after Clueless, she was so big. I'm pretty sure Warner Brothers signed her up. They had a 3 or 4 picture deal, so she was paid decent coin, and they were going to churn out some movies with her. And obviously, there was a few that didn't really go well, like Excess Baggage was one of them. I remember that. I remember. But again, it's all about didn't bring the money in, and yes, did a couple of things, and then it's like, oh,
Excess
She got
Baggage and the
horrifically
Big
fat
Hit
shamed for being in this too.
what was that?
She got horrifically fat shamed for being Batgirl.
Yeah, that's
by
Like
Shoemaker.
maybe, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure all the scenes that he directed with her, he wasn't 100% paying attention because there was no fucking dicks anywhere.
Regan, are you suggesting that perhaps Joel Schumacher was a gay man?
That seems to be the rumor, and God bless him for it. He had that fucking fantastic story about like he slept with 1,000 dudes.
Yeah,
in his sexual lifetime. Like that's some stats you just.
He was the fucking tits. Joel Schumacher
That's
was great.
someone did the math on it, and it's like over the course of his sort of most sexually active years, it's like 3 a day. It's like that's some heavy lifting.
That's like Wilt Chamberlain sort of fucking.
It is, yeah, something with Wilt.
I
I just want to ask you about before I forget, and it coincides with my favourite line from the movie when they're playing the battleship thing.
Yes,
and they're like trying
that's
to
so
shoot
good,
it, and he presses the button and he's like, B12 hit, and my favorite vitamin I might add. Like that's such a Carrey line, but I love it.
Yeah,
I left you guys a voice message about the huge plot hole in the end of this film.
Yes,
where and I'll tell the people, and then you can.
Up, and I'm annoyed you pointed it out.
I'm sorry, you might be able to talk me out of it. So the idea is, and I have to credit this to Stephen Sadak from the We Hate Movies podcast because he brought it up on their episode about it. When Batman and Robin finally arrive at the denouement of the film, they are not only prepared to attack. Or defend, basically, this is Riddler and Two-Face, against two adversaries, Batman and Robin. But also, the final death trap thing relies on both Chase Meridian being there and Robin.
Yep.
And he even says, who are you going to save? The love of your life or Batman's junior partner. This kid is an orphan and likes Saturday morning cartoons. So, even if they know that Bruce Wayne has a ward who was the young acrobat whose parents were killed by Two-Face, even if they know that, and they know that Bruce is Batman, when they have all that information, Robin's not even Robin yet. Like that, he doesn't know. So how do they know that he's going to turn up as Batman's sidekick? It doesn't. There's no way. It doesn't work.
So, you correct me if I'm wrong, because like I said, I didn't get a chance to. I've watched this movie a lot, and I watched a lot of it this week, but I didn't watch all of it. But Robin has been out as Robin once, at least, prior to this encounter, hasn't he?
Yeah, he saves Bruce like after the big ball thing, and he gets buried in the sand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't he's in the old Robin costume, but no one sees that. It's only him and Bruce.
I mean, I guess the idea is that the monitoring that's going on is
with the
intense and
Enigma tech,
and so they're watching everything that's going on.
Okay, well that's a pretty solid argument then.
And then the argument I'd make for he likes Saturday morning cartoons and things. I think they're just making jokes about him being a kid.
Yeah,
I know, but they say his parents were orphaned, so they know that Dick Grayson is Robin, where they shouldn't have that information either. What if
they don't? What if they're just saying he's an orphan and he likes it? They're just making jokes about being him.
That's pretty specific. You're ribbing someone. You might be reaching, but it's okay. It's all right. I know you don't want to. You don't want it to be
right. I mean, on a surface level, it is a bit of a plot hole because I mean, look, the whole movie. There's a lot of convenience in this film, the fact that it's we're going to go by air or by sea, one or both.
Yeah,
and then both those vehicles suit getting to this location. And then there just happened to be mines around this location for a boat entrance. Look, I hear what you're saying. I kind of would say you could explain it away with the Enigma tech that they know so much about everything. They know that obviously Bruce is Batman and he has a fascination with bats. There's no reason to not say that they somehow garnered the information about Robin through Bruce Wayne, because obviously that would have been front and center on his mind, and the fact that he has a relation with Chase Meridian. I mean, they see that he's obviously coming to these events with her, so she means something. But you're right; it's probably a little bit of a plot hole. But having said that,
don't say anything. Yeah.
Having said that, I watching this movie, I tried to turn the brain off, but I couldn't all the time because I did wonder how long this movie and what's the time frame it's set at, because they go on this mass spree to have money so the Riddler can set up this island and build on his.
They have to build it, yeah. Yeah.
and then put it in all the homes. And I'm like, this feels like this is like a month or at least 2 or 3 months work. And it's like, but the movie feels like it's set over a week. But it's like, and then all of a sudden he's got this amazing lair that's being built out the middle and it supposedly moves. I was like, okay, this is like a year. It's like, this is, you don't just go rob a few banks and a couple of jewelry stores and you've got the money to, in the next week, to build this super lair. Like, it's just...
But I think that's a problem with all the Batman films. If you get into it, like, how long does Batman 89 go for? Because Joker's plan to like get all of the products infused with Joker poison. He can't just go into the 7-Eleven and swap some shit out. Like, he's got to replace everything in every shop throughout an entire city to the point, like, we have to get stuff in from out of town. There's no other way. Like, that's going to take forever. But that movie feels like it happens over a weekend.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we want to start getting plot holes, like, why the fuck does the Batwing in Batman 89 have a giant pair of scissors in the front? These movies have never really covered all their bases when you want to get down to the nitty gritty.
Never fucking thought of that before.
Like, there's no reason to have scissors.
Why do you have scissors there? The other one that's even more ridiculous, I think, the apex of ridiculous is the fact that Batman's driving, Batman and Robin, Batman's driving, and he's like, who am I after? And the commissioner says, it's Mr. Freeze. And he goes, Mr. Freeze. So he didn't know who he was going after at first. He couldn't have known that it was an ice-based villain. And yet him and Robin turn up with ice skate boots.
Yes.
Like, nope. Absolutely. Yeah. And they can both skate.
Yes.
Like,
look, I think
of
Batman
all the things
and
he
Robin
needed
is
to learn how to do.
any conceit about, like, thinking things through or giving the illusion of thinking things through was just dropped. And, like, this is now a set-piece movie. That's all we care about.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how many different costumes can we get on them so we can sell different toys?
Yeah.
How many different setups can we have so we can have different, like, funny one-liners about wherever it is we are?
And don't put nipples on Alicia Silverstone's costume because we'll get an R rating.
Immediately. Put 7 nipples on George's. It doesn't matter. I think my favorite, like, post sort of, I know, internet days, the best comment about Batman and Robin is just like, Poison Ivy was trying to save the environment and Mr. Freeze was trying to cool the planet, and they told us to root for the trust fund billionaire.
Yeah.
That doesn't hold up, does it? Oh, shit. Hang on.
He's too busy arguing with his little boy he keeps around to fucking pay any attention. Bananas.
Fuck. Is Clooney's Batman Epstein? Is that what that is? Shit. It's really...
He's got jets. He's got jets. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But Batman Forever, I think, apart from that little, like... I don't know. I feel like you've got to have a fun ending, and they did their best. It's like it's the most wacky that we'd seen so far of endings, save for like shark repellent spray and the Adam West stuff.
So I do like. I mean, the lead up. There's some, like I said, there's some questionable possible plot holes or extra convenience, but I think the whole thing where they put it on Harvey that he's got to flip his coin and he throws which he just happens to have a bag of coins in his utility belt. I don't know how that happened, but the throwing the coins up and making him confused, and he's so obsessed with having his coin and catching it, and then he obviously loses balance. So I think that works. And the fact that all the Enigma tech sort of kind of works in reverse on the Riddler, and he warps his fragile little mind. I think they all work. They're all fun, and I kind of like that they keep the Riddler alive. Also, probably one of my criticisms of all these films that unfortunately I think they killed the Joker off in the first one. I never liked that. I felt like they needed to somehow keep him just in case there was an opportunity to bring him back at some point. The same thing they did the last shot for Selena Kyle to be alive in Returns, just in case they wanted to bring her back, which was a good move at the last minute. The Penguin's killed off.
Again, she's a big thing in the Batman 89 comic book. Sam Hamm really had like his ducks in a row with that, so that was a plan. And then Burton stayed on.
Yeah, and then obviously the Riddler survives, but his brain's fucking mush. There's still that possibility, maybe, I don't know, at some point he can be used again, but then Harvey's unfortunately gone. But then that's
the thing about the Rogues Gallery and the Batman comic books and stuff, is that he he doesn't kill them. They go into prison, they break out, and then they come out for more adventures. You know?
Yeah, yeah. And look, I get that about, I guess, movies to a point. Can't keep them all the time, but I just think you paint yourself.
You don't need to kill everybody all the time, though. They don't have to appear again. You can just put them in prison, you know.
But actually, I did,
Not Speed.
Watching this movie again, though, I hadn't watched it in a little while, and I watched it probably twice in the last week, but I watched it with some kids. So I was sort of gauging their interest, and for one child that had no interest in watching it, she definitely got involved in it and was interested in what was happening. There was definitely some parts in the middle where it was a bit talky, where my son was like, do we have to watch this Batman movie? And then when it got to the action, obviously that was when the kids' eyes light up and they're just complete zombies. Kind of like the Enigma tech. They just put that little thing on their head and they just watching the screen. I hadn't really thought about it before, but, when we see the Joker, in the first movie and there's, he's on the ground. I don't know if there's a lot of blood, but there's definitely blood around his face to show that he's dead in the concrete. Whereas when we see the Grayson family, which is like, you don't want to see necessarily, a lot of bloodshed and stuff like that, but all three have fallen, have hit a hard surface from a distance, and there's not one bit of blood. Yeah, and then even Two-Face, we don't really see his death. We just see the hand sort of slip away over the rocks. So it's definitely this transition from, the Penguin spewing up vomit and green blood or whatever, and then the Joker, and then you go, oh, well, this one
biting off people's noses. And...
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing. Yeah. It was a hard reboot of what Batman was going to be, which is why they even, Burton says when he went in there to have meetings about the third one, and they were like, don't you want to go and do something smaller or whatever? And he's like, you don't want me to come back for the third one, do you? And I think they did the best they could with what they have, understanding that it was still a product that was going to sell. And then Batman, it became a product. Like Batman and Robin is a product. It's not a movie. It's a toy commercial. But there's some really good shit going on in here, and I think it gets a great reevaluation. We just did an episode on the Film Addicts podcast about Constantine, which just got a 4K re-release. It came out 20 years ago. At the time, it was really maligned, but it's actually fucking rules.
I always liked it. I was really surprised. I think this happens to me a lot, where I watch a movie and I'm like, that fucking rocks, and then I read like years later, like I'm still stunned
everybody hated
that people were angry at the Phantom Menace. I was like, I was there. People fucking love that movie in the cinema. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I've got a different interpretation of that, but
like, I remember being in the cinema and everyone like, fucking yeah.
Yeah, people were losing their shit when I went. Had lightsabers.
And same thing, like my buddy and I went to see Constantine in Union. Like we're driving home and we're like, that fucking movie ruled.
Supernatural Detective. It was just because it wasn't. Didn't have
wasn't blonde and British.
He wasn't blonde and British, yeah. But even the Vertigo purists were like, whatever. It's still, aesthetically, it still matches and all that stuff. And it's a really good movie, and the 4K is beautiful. It's a really great restoration.
And it's my favorite ever on-screen depiction of the devil is Peter Stormare's devil.
Oh, he's so good.
He's just
he's so good in everything he does. But
he is, but like that's like the embodiment of like you didn't have to go that hard. Like you did not have to be that fucking good in Constantine at playing the devil, and yet somehow it is. I challenge people to like rewatch that and tell me it's not, if not their personal favorite, at least not like top 5 depictions of the devil in cinema in all of cinema history. It is phenomenal and terrifying and funny and everything that you think that the devil would be if you met them. Like it's just great.
Yeah, he's really good. My favorite performance of his is Big Lebowski, specifically the scene where he goes in and Lebowski's just been to see the other Lebowski, and he comes out and there's Tara Reid, and she's like, "I'll suck your cock for $1,000," and he's like, "Your boyfriend won't mind," and he's lying in a lilo in the pool with an empty bottle next to him, completely passed out. And she says, he doesn't care about anything. He's a nihilist. And Jeff Bridges goes, oh, that sounds exhausting. Yeah, he's good at that. We fuck you anyway. We take some money. Like, just, bless the man.
I love him. I love Peter Stormare so much. This movie, like, I'm glad that it is getting a reappraisal, because the more that I look into it, it is a little bit in danger of being lost
Yeah.
a bit to history. Like Joel Schumacher, if you look at Joel Schumacher's like top four known for films on IMDb, like I don't think without looking at it, any of us would get more than two. Like, do you think you could guess his top four?
Yeah.
Well, what do you think it would be, Rex?
It'll be Time to Kill, maybe 8mm, and you've already said that it's not this. Lost Boys, and Phone Booth.
I'm fucking stunned you got two. That's very impressive. His top four known for A Fan of the Opera,
What the
8mm,
fuck?
Phone Booth, and Batman and Robin.
I was going to say
really?
I was going to say
And
Batman.
I think
I
that's
thought he was going
the
to
thing that
be
stuck
known
out. I think when people think of the
Yeah.
Schumacher Batmans now, they jump to Batman and Robin
Yeah.
because it is notorious these days.
Yeah.
And I think people either put Batman Forever in with it or they eradicate it. I also realized during this conversation, I didn't clock it at the start, but once the next Matt Reeves Batman, the next Robert Pattinson Batman comes out, Val Kilmer will be the only Batman to have played the role in just one film. Because Clooney got his cameo in The Flash.
Ah, fuck. No,
So-
he didn't.
So no other Batman has only been he's become like the George Lazenby of Bond. Like
Yeah.
he just did it the once. And people are like, oh, that one, like, and because his career didn't become Clooney-esque afterwards, and because now he's very sadly passed away and obviously will not be appearing in anything else, and people associate him more with like Iceman than anything else. Like, you know, he talks about how he felt. I think in his autobiography, or his documentary, I can't remember which one. He talks about how he felt like he never like carved out a definitive role for himself. That he's like that was his shtick. You know, like Cruise did with Ethan Hunt, or even like Hank's never had a franchise, but like Forrest Gump, you think like that's kind of a big deal for him, and other actors in his kind of, I guess, his draft class started to like carve out their own like specialty. Batman was the closest he got, was like, I'm a guy who's got like a role that will go on, and he only got to do it once. I do worry that like as time goes on and we get more Batman movies and more iterations of the character, like this will be the one that, like, Her Majesty's Secret Service fucking rules. It's one of the best.
It does.
Bonds.
It's
People
awesome.
are like, oh no, I'm not going to watch that one. That's the guy who just did it once, and I hope that doesn't happen with Batman Forever because it's fucking awesome. And
Well,
Kilmer's-
like we sort of in our chat before we, obviously record this, and I was, looking at IMDb, and I was like thinking, oh, this will be at least a 7 movie or a 7.5, and I'm like 5.4. What the fuck? Like, since when did this become a shit fucking Batman film? Like, what the hell? Like, and that, like you're saying, like I do think it is this sort of revisionist history, or people change the perception, because I know a lot of people saw this movie. I can guarantee you that nearly everyone that I know that saw this film at the time loved it. It was a huge box office, and just because something makes box office doesn't mean it's good, but it was definitely well received. I feel like everything had everything going for it. It had all-star cast, had great characters, and yeah, we can pick it apart a little bit here or there, but overall you go, for a Batman film, a comic book film, even the titles, actually, that's what I hadn't spoken about. The titles are so reminiscent of the Superman movies that Warner Brothers, brought out. And then you go, well, even that gives you the feeling that, oh, well, this is a slightly different Batman film. Like, it's going to be a bit more comic booky, or a bit more, not necessarily going back to the source material, but it's going to be a bit more fun, like it's, they were trying to do something a little bit different. And it's like, you're right, I do think this film is now suffering because of the failure of Batman and Robin, or for whatever negativity the Batman and Robin brings, this has now been lumped into it, because I think that's the only thing that can explain why people just write this one off, because there's no reason to be writing this film off.
It's an even
It's
split.
made
They go, there's the Burtons, and then
$336
there's the
million.
Schumachers,
Like, it made so much money. I think it is. I think it's part of, like, Kilmer only did it once. Clooney did it once, but he became super famous, and he also got out in front of it and was like, oh, yeah, I can never be a superhero again. Did you guys see Batman and Robin? And everyone's like, yeah, we didn't like it either. And he's like, yeah, me either. Huh. And Schumacher, like, if you
Buy my coffee.
if you listen to the director's commentary of Batman and Robin, like, Schumacher is apologizing all over it. He's just
But
like,
he also admits, he's like, I was a grown up, I was awake, Like
Yeah.
I knew what I was doing. Like it was, and he got paid.
Yeah, he
Got
doesn't try and
paid.
excuse it. He's just like, yeah, this didn't work. I shouldn't have done that. I did it, but I shouldn't have done it. Like he's very honest.
But it's pop culture osmosis as well. It's like you. I remember having a conversation with somebody about it. They were quite young. They would have been maybe early teens, and they were talking about, because I mentioned Ghostbusters being one of my favorite comedies, and they started talking shit about the one that they made, the Paul Feig made with the Kristen Wiig and stuff, and which is actually quite a good movie. He was just ripping on it, and I'm like, I was like, who showed you that movie to the kid? And he's like, oh, I haven't seen it. I'm like, well, you can't have an opinion, mate. You can't. I don't care if you're a teenager. And I punched him in the throat.
Yeah.
And then now I'm electronically tagged again. But that's, neither here nor there.
Worth it.
Yeah. But it's just, I feel like people, like the idea of this movie being bad, like you said, Cable, lumped in with Batman and Robin, people just kind of have an assumption about this. And I implore anybody out there, if you're in the earshot and there's something that you have an interest in that maybe other people don't, just fucking do it anyway, because you might find the best thing ever. Yeah. Like someone who hasn't watched Batman forever because everyone's told him it's shit is going to watch it one day and be like, I spent 20 years of my life not having Batman Forever as a yearly watch, or a 4K in my collection, because I listen to other people's shit. Like, just go out there and source it yourself.
Yeah, I look, there's been many a movie, and I'm just talking about movies here, is that people have warned me off. I said, no, that was rubbish, don't watch it. And I've taken their advice, and then years later seen the film, or even seen it the week after and gone, what the fuck are you talking about? This is a great film.
Halloween 3, when I was getting into slashers, I went to the video store, and the guy who was like running the video store at the time, I came in one week and I got Halloween. I went back the next week, I got Halloween. Don't get that when Michael Myers isn't in it. It's got nothing to do with the others. It's shit. Don't worry about it. And I was like, oh, well, I don't want to watch a shit one. And then I got Halloween 4 and I went home and watched that, and I was like,
this is a shit one.
what happened? Why did I skip 3 to watch this? And I didn't watch Halloween 3 until I was like in my late 20s, and now it's like my second favorite Halloween movie. Like
it fucking rules
all over the place. I think part of it is legacy with Batman. I think Keaton has carved out a legacy. He's a beloved, iconic individual. Burton, particularly within his fan base, he went on to create iconic classic film after iconic classic film. Schumacher never really did that. Like post Batman and Robin, he didn't do anything to like elevate his status. He doesn't have like followers. And Kilmer never went on to like cultivate this fandom in the way that Keaton and Clooney in particular did. And you can see it a little bit happening again now with like the Nolan trilogy being, I feel like already being like a bit forgotten to time and a bit of revisionist history. Like I know not everyone was a huge fan of Dark Knight Rises when it came out, but like again, I was in the cinema. I was there. People fucking loved it. I read the reviews. People loved it. Everyone.
That's my favorite of those three.
This is a fucking great movie. And I bought it on Blu-ray. I came home and I like called my buddy. I was like, "Hey, I just bought Dark Knight Rises on Blu-ray." He's like, "I'm fucking coming over." And we're like, "This still rocks."
Yeah.
And now people are like, "Oh yeah, Batman. It's not that good." And I think Pattinson has a fanatic fan base of people who love Robert Pattinson. Christian Bale does not have, and by choice, does not have like a fanatic fan base. And so those movies are already starting to lose a bit of their sheen, and they're not as beloved even as like, the Keaton ones and things. So this film really kind of falls in. It's like the stepchild that kind of juts out a little bit because it doesn't have the super duper famous Batman. It doesn't have the legendary iconic director.
Yeah, I also think, I wonder if it's also a product, you talk about the Lazenby effect of just the one film, that the perception for someone that is like younger than us and maybe a Batman fan or not, grew up with the Bale films or whatever, and is thinking of going back. Without doing any research, you'd be like, oh, Val Kilmer. He's Batman in this one movie, and now, hang on, now it's George Clooney. Like, if you're looking at if you're in the Blockbuster or the Movie Land or whatever, and you were looking on the shelf, I could also see a world where people go, hang on, how come he only did one Batman film? And then what, like, there's probably that perception of, he only did one, so he mustn't have been any good, or there was issues, or it's not a good movie because he's replaced in the fourth one. So, while that's not a truth, I think
No.
there's a perception thing. If people don't do the research or don't choose to watch the film and watch it for themselves and make their own opinion, I can see it where people are like, oh, like you said, it's you've got your Sean Connery movies, and then all of a sudden you've got Lazenby, and then they go back to Connery for one more film. You kind of go, oh, well, and like you said, On Her Majesty's Secret Service is a great film. Great film. But I can see why people probably, again, look at it or frown on it because the actor, wasn't the Bond that they wanted and was the one film. And
Yeah,
Didn't he not like doing it, and he wanted to go and have a family or something? That was my
He got
understanding.
told by friends in the industry, don't sign on to do more because you'll just get trapped doing Bond and you won't get to do anything else. Like, you're hot right now. You should be out there making like a bunch of different shit. And he never made another movie again. So bad advice. He got given bad. He was a used car
It's
salesman.
sliding doors
Bad
moment there. But I think it's also got to do with
advice.
franchise, like because these movies are, the Bond movies as well are, in continuity. Like the Keaton Batman is the same Batman that is played by George Clooney, like in terms of its continuity. But you replace Batman, what's his name, the Ben Afflecks, with Bat, and people go, "Oh, it's a different thing altogether. It's not. It's a reboot." Reboot is the word. But I think you're probably right. When it's in continuity, like what happened there? Like what? Why is this changed all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like these four Batman movies almost fall into like that Ship of Theseus kind of thing, where it's like, at what point is this still the same Batman? Because you've replaced Batman, and then you've replaced directors, and you've replaced writers, and then you've replaced Harvey Dent, and like anything that is recognizable, you are swapping out on us. At what point is this the same fucking boat?
Yeah.
But I think it very much is. I think that we had to stop after Batman and Robin and have a good long look at ourselves.
Well, they tried really hard to do Batman triumphant, and they were
did.
going to have who was it? Cage was going to play. Nicolas Cage was going to play, or Jeff Goldblum, I think it was considered as well. Was going to be Scarecrow.
Wow.
They're going to do that shit. I mean, I would have watched that movie too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really like Joel Schumacher. I reckon he's a fucking excellent director. Like, just in terms of his hits, Elmo's Fire, Lost Boys, Flatliners, fucking amazing film. Falling Down, Sean, you can hear me
Fucking
now, son.
all-timer.
Falling
Love that
Down.
movie.
The Client, Batman Forever, Time to Kill, Batman and Robin, 8mm, Flawless is
8mm
great,
rocks.
Tigerland is
That's
great,
great.
Phone Booth is great, Veronica Green
I love
is great.
Phone Booth.
Phone Booth's excellent. I rewatched it recently.
Actually, it's funny you say about Phone Booth, and I don't know whether it was a Schumacher thing or it changed hands. But you know who was supposed to be in Phone Booth in its early pre-production?
Instead of Colin Farrell.
Jim Carrey. He was linked to
see
Phone Booth for a long time. Like, that was something that was... And then, of course, you see it read, it's in one of those, Hollywood Reporter / magazines, and he was linked to that for the longest of times, and then I don't know whether he decided to pass on the project or went to something else.
Well,
and I don't know whether
Schumacher didn't get along on the set, and Schumacher never wanted to work with him again, which obviously changed because they did number 23.
Number 23
But
together,
I wonder if Schumacher came onto Phone Booth and that made Carrey go away.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want to work with that guy. He'll put nipples everywhere. Nipples all as far as the eye can see.
Why is there a nipple on his handset?
Why are there nipples on the phone?
You're right about Cage being Scarecrow. There is confirmed reports on both sides that Schumacher went to the set of Face Off to ask Cage to be Scarecrow in this next Batman movie, and he was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go."
Yeah, and then it fucking that went south, and then Superman went south for him as well. No wonder he was like, "Yeah, I'll play Ghost Rider. I was supposed to be a superhero twice."
I had a really fun moment. My son has recently gotten really into Teen Titans Go.
Sure.
And he's been just power watching that, and he didn't know there was a movie. I was like, "Hey, there's a movie." So we watched Teen Titans Go to the movie, and the Justice League is in that briefly, and Superman is voiced by Nicolas Cage. And when Superman arrives and speaks, it's very clearly Nicolas Cage, and we're watching it, and I just stood up and went, "Oh my god!" And he was like, "What?" I'm like, "That's Nicolas Cage," and he's 6, and he was like, "Who's that?" I'm like,
Yeah,
"He's
I was
an actor,
gonna
but
say.
he was going to be Superman, and then that movie never happened, and he always wanted to be Superman. Like, he named his son Kal-El. He's like so into Superman, and oh my god, I can't believe he's finally getting to be Superman." And he was like, what? And I was like, you're the wrong audience for this. You're my fucking nerds.
You'll get this later when I introduce you to 8mm, apparently. Sorry, next year, son. Do you have two kids though?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
You do. It's
10 and 6.
10 and 6, right? So the sister's the older sister.
Yeah, and she's into Teen Titans Go too. Like it's taken over the household. It's quite fun.
Which, to actually quickly go back to my kids watching this movie, the only thing I thought was a bit cringe or a bit, oh geez, I hope this, it was obviously the quite sexualized version of Chase Meridian, and some of, like you said, some of the content of what was said that I'd forgotten that was said. And then it was like, luckily I feel like there was no questions asked and over the head, but I was like, oh, I thought the only problem I was going to have in these movies was Catwoman, but no, clearly Chase Meridian is, you know. Anyway.
Apparently in the scene where she's like out on the balcony wrapped in a sheet, she was literally naked under that sheet. She was like, yeah, I'm just going to wear the sheet.
That's Pete Kidman too.
She's,
right.
yeah, oh, yeah, man,
Like, no one's going to stop you.
She's a great actress as well. I would suggest then, Cable, maybe if we do go, I say we, like it's my show, if you guys go on to do Batman and Robin.
Oh, we're doing it, yeah.
It has to be done. Don't show them that, because that literally has the line that she says to Poison Ivy, you know, if I was a sign or something, if you were a sign, what would you be? Slippery when wet. Like, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute.
Never.
We've got erections going on in the cinema, and there's kids everywhere.
Yeah. I would say the more, probably the more damaging part of that movie is when he pulls out a credit card that is a Batman credit card that is good through to forever. That's more offensive than any joke, innuendo, full frontal nudity, or penetrative sex you could see on film is that fucking shot of that credit card.
Well, the fact that Robin, who's supposed to be the second best martial artists on Earth, gets pushed into like 3 or 4 different liquids.
Yeah.
Like he ends up in ice cream, fucking plant, and water. Like, you are not the ninja that you purport to be when you do the washing up.
No, he's Bud Abbott in that movie. He's really just fucking so incompetent. Just falling over and getting into trouble every 5 fucking minutes.
And here I thought that movie would be safe for kids. Because clearly it was dumbed down for kids.
Absolutely not.
But yeah, I think that one like G-rated almost.
I think the cocks are bigger as well. I'm sure of it. Like, if you were to do a measurement thing, they're definitely much larger.
Cod pieces. They love the good cod pieces.
There was that whole big controversy as well for forever that Chris O'Donnell's cod piece was bigger than Val's, and he wasn't happy about it. Don't know if that's might be a apocryphal tale, but it's. I mean, the proof's in the pudding, isn't it, so to speak?
PG is Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin is also PG. So there you go. So it won't be any worse than anything that happened in this movie. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, there's things that were potentially different, and things that, you know, that one plot hole aside, yeah, could maybe have been different. But in terms of like a pretty rock solid fucking movie, a rock solid Batman movie, a rock solid superhero movie, like this really does kind of have it all. It's really unimpeachable for the most part, I think personally, and maybe you guys will shout me down, but I think for the most part, like, there's really nothing you can look at in this movie like, oh fuck, you should have done that different, that. Like, yes, we could have had a different version of Two-Face, but like I said, I think this is the version we had to have in this movie so that we could have a bit of fun. Is Carrey a little unhinged? 1995. What the fuck else did you want?
Yeah, it's what he was doing. He was on brand.
Like, he was absolutely on fire in this movie, and it's a murderer's row of like just hot fucking talent going on in this movie. Like, all of them were either peaking or like about to be a big deal in O'Donnell's case, which just never quite like got there. But he was hot shit when this movie came out. They all were.
Yeah.
Like,
I've actually got another plot hole.
When they added Alicia Silverstone to the mix. You were what?
I've just got another plot hole I just thought of.
Oh, what is it?
Well, only because my kids brought it up and they were kind of like, oh, so that's a Riddler too. So the Riddler, when he really gets into the costume, he has the short, like, red hair or orange hair, and it's like almost like buzz cut. But then later on, when he's at his Enigma Tech, he's got the long sort of brown hair
It's supposed to
And
look like Bruce. Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to look like Bruce, but then when he gets back into the Riddler, he's kind of got that fresh haircut. But again, this could lead back to what I was saying before.
I don't know if that's a plot hole. Like that, that's not getting anything to do with the plot. It's just a
well, no. So, well, you're right, but it's a continuity thing because that doesn't really marry up unless, going back to what I was saying earlier, is that this movie is set over a longer time frame
It has to
than
be,
we
yeah.
think. Because the kids were like, oh, but that's the same guy, right? I'm like, yeah. And they go, but his hair's different again. And I'm like,
He's wearing a wig. Shut up. Have your
I mean, the hair might actually be the thing that solves a lot of the plot holes. If we follow like his hair getting shorter and longer and shorter and longer, and then map out how long it takes for that to happen, that could explain so much. Like, of course, they know a great amount of detail about Batman and Robin and Bruce Wayne. Like, just because we don't see Robin out there kicking ass next to Batman, maybe they've been a dynamic duo for fucking 6 months by the time they go to the island to fight them. And like, of course there'll be two of them. Those two are always together now. You don't get one without the other. And that would actually
I mean, it's a decent enough argument, but you've got to go back to the rule of cinema: show, don't tell. Right? You can't
showed
just
the hair.
You can't
They
just
didn't tell us time had passed. They showed us hair growing.
It's not no. This is just show something, not show, don't tell. It's show something to give us that idea. I don't know.
Yeah, his hair.
Okay, it's
His
your
hair-
show. I'll
his
let you
hair-
win.
His hair grows. It's like when you watch a movie and a guy like lands on a desert island and then like you have a crossfade and he has a beard and you'll go, time has passed. You don't need him to go, it's been 79 years. Like you just go, he's got a beard, obviously.
It's been 79 years.
Carrey shaves his head. Oh, you know, speaking of Carrey's hair, Jim Carrey's idea was he was going to shave a question mark into his head.
Oh, that's cool.
For the role, and he decided he couldn't do it because while he was filming, he had to go to court to finalize his divorce.
Ooh.
And I think that's amazing. I just imagine him like got the clip and he's like, am I going to look crazy in front of the judge? Am I going to have to explain why there's a question mark? I really don't want to pay this bitch alimony. All right, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'll just get a fucking wig. And
That's the kind of thing that he would do intentionally
$10,000
now.
gets added to the budget because he's like, I need another wig. I can't shave my head.
Sorry, dudes.
Yeah, he would do that now. He would do something crazy and then go before a judge and like dare him to send him to jail. He's an interesting cat. Him and I wonder, I don't know if you guys found this, were him and Val friends like later in life? Because I feel like their interests co-aligned with their passion about art and their interest in like spirituality and in seeing through the veil of society and things. I couldn't find anything that suggested they were.
In the behind the scenes stuff that they did when it got a big 2-disc re-release on DVD, like the special editions a while back, they did retro interviews with everybody. I don't think Carrey was involved though, but Val addresses the idea that him and Jim were at odds during the shooting, and they were saying that Val didn't like him or whatever because he felt like he was being upstaged, and Val's like, that's not true at all. Like, you'd have to be an alien not to like Jim Carrey. So I guess they had goodwill towards one another.
I guess he's saying Tommy Lee Jones is an alien. Had a fucking slight against Tommy.
It might be the case.
It's sad because I think overall, we the consensus is we all like this film. It's just the behind the scenes. You sort of do think, well, at least they remain professional enough that they made a good picture because it doesn't really show. But then, like I said, the rumours for years is there was a lot of issues, even with Val. Like I think he thought the last thing I read was that, and I don't want to speak ill of the dead because he's not here to defend himself, but that was the thing. Like his star had started to really rise, and he kind of treated people like shit because he was the star and he was Val Kilmer, and that's where him and Joel obviously started having falling out. And the whole, like you said, maybe he did have an issue with Jim. I don't know. I know it's well documented, the Tommy Lee and Jim Carrey stuff, I think, but from all accounts, I was reading recently that Val probably wasn't the most popular person on the set because he treated people like shit. But
he had a bad rep after getting sort of big with this movie, and me and Gus were talking about off mic about Dr. Moreau and that set and how badly that went. And there's footage that he took from that set in the documentary that sort of collated from all of his archive stuff of him getting into it with Frankenheimer, who was notoriously a bastard, like not a nice person at all. And I'd feel like he was young, he was in his power, he was making a lot of money, and like people aren't coming out and saying, like, he's not getting Me Too'd, he's not getting cancelled, they're just saying he was an asshole. Well, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of fucking assholes, you know, in Hollywood in general. Not everybody's Tom Hanks, you know. So I feel like as an older man, and if you watch that doco, it's quite heartbreaking, because as much as that persona is perpetuated in the media, he really did care about the craft of acting. He really did want to be the best actor he could be, and he gave it fucking everything he had.
Yeah. I actually met him. Val came out to Australia, at least the last time I know, was probably about 2011-ish. And I didn't know he was going to be there. It was a special... What was that?
What for?
Well, funnily enough, so Christopher Lloyd was coming out for like... not Comic-Con, it was Armageddon, I think, and he was going to be a special guest. So it was obviously all these mainly Back to the Future fans were coming out to see him, but it was all about... It was a meet and greet, Q&A, all that sort of stuff in town at Jeff's Shed, and it was just supposed to be Christopher Lloyd, or at least that's what I was told, that's what I signed up for, that's what I paid a ticket for, and then it was a bonus. All of a sudden, Val Kilmer was there, so they must have got him really late, or he was in Australia for something, and he came out, so it was him and Christopher Lloyd, and we were all in this auditorium just firing all these different questions. They were telling us all these great Hollywood stories, and people asking these really cool questions, and you know, hearing stuff that you hadn't heard before or whatever. Yeah, I was just feeling I didn't get a photo with him. I just hadn't paid I paid to get a photo with Christopher Lloyd, and I half forgotten about it only until someone else I know had posted when Val passed away that photo from that day and
that particular event.
So
I mean, he was a really articulate, well-spoken, artistic dude, and I feel like people miss that because they get caught up again in that pop culture osmosis of you get told a story and then that morphs into something else, into something 100%. Else, into something else, and he's all of a sudden this monster. No, he's not. He doesn't get on set with Robert Downey Jr. post getting sober and fuck that up. Like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is the role that I'll remember him for, like more than anything. That he steals that movie from Downey, for crying out loud. Like, that's a huge feat.
And I think if he was a real asshole, he wouldn't have been. You wouldn't be in so many films even afterwards. I know he wasn't maybe the biggest star that we maybe had expected, but like some of his work post
he kept working,
Batman Forever, like pretty good. Like I even look at Wonderland, which is where he plays Johnny Holmes, the porn star, and that I know a lot about that story. There was this whole plot because it features in Boogie Nights. It's fictionalized in Boogie Nights, and then they went back and he plays that role, and it's like because they never know what happened to these Wonderland Mooners. They believe they think they know, but it's just he's so good in that, and it's like maybe he just came across as an asshole because he took the craft so seriously and he was a perfectionist. That I don't know, that's how I look at it. Like I can understand when I'm coaching fucking junior footy, I take it pretty seriously too, and some people probably think I come across as an asshole. And but you know what I'm saying, it only takes one person to feel slighted by you or whatever, and then they start calling you an asshole, and that can spread. They tell one person that the next person. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe him, and there's a lot of egos in Hollywood, and people are going to butt heads, and I don't know, I like to think that Val was a professional that,
Well, when he's filming in that doco and he's filming Frankenheimer, he's like, the reason I'm filming you right now is because this is not what we said we were going to be doing. This is not what we all signed on for, and I want a record of it. And the other thing, talking about arseholes in Hollywood, he worked with Marlon Brando on that film, notoriously a piece of shit who had who, despite his talent, which was... I mean, he's a talented dude, he's a great actor, but he had a contempt for the profession and for Hollywood that was bigger than his want to do the job. At least Val was committed.
And he worked with, looking, Tony Scott and Ron Howard, he worked with them multiple times across lots of films. I feel like someone like Ron Howard isn't going to cast someone who is a dirtbag just because he's like, I need Val Kilmer for this. I guess I have to put it Ron Howard can get whoever the hell he wants. If he's going back and hey, can you come on board? I really want you for this role. I take that as and Tony Scott he was crazy, man. He's not going to put up with shit. He'll just shoot you. So for multiple times, he's like, get dead.
Yeah.
Like he also like in terms of a body of work, like in his career, he worked some of the big dogs, like Tony Scott and Ron Howard, but he also worked with Francis Ford Coppola. He worked with I said Bruce Beresford. He worked with Philip Noyce.
Terrence Malick.
Terrence Malick, yeah. He like and these are just the directors. These aren't even the people who co-starred with him. Michael Mann. Like, he really, Oliver Stone a couple of times. He really like ticks some boxes there in terms of working with some auteurs and working with some big names.
Yeah.
And then his co-stars, like he worked with everyone and a lot of them at their peak. So I think, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, he was probably a bit of a weird dude. He was probably a bit aloof. There's an interview I was talking to Regan about before we started rolling that people can check out on YouTube where it's post Batman, it's post Dr. Moreau, it's just before the Saint came out. He's on Letterman, and Letterman's like asking questions about Batman and Island of Dr. Moreau. And it's not that he looks like he's trying to be evasive or that he's high or anything. It looks like he genuinely doesn't know how to like answer a regular human question. Like he's been famous too long, or he's just a bit too weird. He seems like really just like not sure what to say to a human being who's asking him things. And I want, like, maybe he was just a weird dude and people are like, he's a jerk. I don't know. I feel like it's all a bit silly, and I haven't found anything concrete that ever suggests that he was actually, a total dick. I'm sure when he was in his 20s and gorgeous, he was a fucking jerk to assistants and possibly even directors and definitely other people. How I don't know. Maybe I'm being apologetic because I'm sad he's dead and I like him. But like what did he actually say? Like, show me some receipts. Like, tell me what he did, and then I will. If someone with first-hand experience is like, he did this, I'll immediately be like, well, fuck me. I'll shut my mouth. He was a jerk. But until then, I kind of feel like maybe he was just weird. I don't know. Some people are just weird.
Yeah. And it's also the environment. Hollywood's a fucking weird environment.
Like he might have been undiagnosed autism disorder. Like
I do wonder, even like some of the people,
like that.
some of the other stars he worked with in his early years, like they might have been assholes to him, and he just thought, "Oh, this is how it operates." Like,
well, him and Kim Basinger, like doing the Real McCoy when they were both at the absolute height of them being young, gorgeous Hollywood stars. I can't imagine either one of them were like taking time out of their day for anyone else.
Yeah.
They would have been like, "I'm fucking 26 and gorgeous and rich." Lie down on the ground and let me walk on you, and people are like, sure. Like, how could you not?
Even like when he does Heat, he's with De Niro and Pacino, and just this all-star cast, like
holding his own too.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, well, I don't know. I'm not saying those guys are assholes, but if they act a certain way, he's probably thinking, "Oh, look at these guys. They've been in Hollywood, they're stars, and they've been here for years. This is the way we are." I don't know. Like, it's. I'm not trying to make.
About his passing. I know he was unwell for a while, so it was never really on the cards. But Michael Mann wrote a novel sequel to Heat. It's called Heat 2.
He's wrote prepping the movie.
And he is now, but he wrote the novel first, and the novel's great. And the novel follows Chris Saherlis, the character played by Val, because he's the only one who survives. And it's like all about Saherlis, and the whole book. Like, I was reading it, and I was like, oh man, I can see him doing it. And I was like, is there any way? Can they like? Even if they just like the older version of him, is there any way? And I was holding out hope that maybe we would get to see him in Heat 2, and obviously he won't. But I will say,
Austin Butler instead.
As far as a career cap, as far as an opportunity to go out like with a bang, finishing your career with Top Gun Maverick, aside from being a fucking incredible movie, like coming back to the character that he has become most known for of all his characters, and getting a chance to like go out on his own terms, basically. Just one of the most beautiful finishes to a film career that I can think of. Like the only other one I can think of is am I thinking the right actor? I feel horrible if I get his name wrong. Is it Jason Robards in Magnolia, who plays the dad who's dying?
Yes.
He was actually dying when he was filming it.
I was named after him.
Oh, really?
Jason Robards.
Well, he's Cable Hogue in the Bella.
Oh, is he really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, like that's probably the only other thing I can think of where an actor is like, I'm going to take this role knowing this is it.
I'm playing the dying man who is actually dying.
Go out with an
Jim Varney playing Slinky Dog. No, not Slinky Dog. Jim Varney did the voice of Cookie in Atlantis.
Oh,
and he knew that he wouldn't get to see the end result.
oh,
Brutal.
oh,
Yeah,
just
that the funeral
the kick in
scene
the
in
childhood,
Maverick
isn't
takes
it?
on a whole new thing now.
Yeah, and apparently apparently Val Kilmer's kids are like uncredited extras in that scene, which like just makes it even more. I was talking with friends about this in a chat the other day. It's like, what's a movie that makes you cry? And I was like, without a doubt, the fucking Iceman scene in Maverick just ruins me. And now the next time I watch it, I'm gonna be a mess.
It's going to have to be a little while, I reckon.
I'm gonna need a minute.
And talking about his just before we finish up, like his dedication to the profession, that scene in the post the heist going poorly in sort of the end of the second act of Heat, where they're in the shootout with the cops in the street. That scene is used by like tactical police forces and stuff of how to like rapid reload. And it's him. He's doing it. You've seen him fire and how to like evade or to retreat correctly, like when in a firefight. And you see Val do it, man. He's in there. He drops the clip. He snaps it in. He hits the lock, and you know what I mean? Like turns the safety off, and he's at it again. Like you don't get that good at something if you don't give a shit. It's like Keanu Reeves as John Wick. Like he trained like a motherfucker because he believes in it. Like that's. Yeah. I think his work will be what should speak for him, not that Hollywood gossip horse shit that you overhear someone else tell you, you know? Like, I think, just watch his movies and see how great he actually is.
Yeah, and he's brilliant, and I'd encourage everyone to go back and revisit a bunch of his. The Salton Sea, I think, is an
excellent,
underseen and underappreciated fucking little indie he did that was incredible. I think you should really go and watch that, and go watch Batman Forever again. If you're listening to this and be like, I don't know, man. Do I really need to? Yes, you do.
Get them 4Ks. Fucking beautiful.
Get them 4Ks. Holy shit! Especially this one. Like it's the perfect.
It's so rich and the color and it's really wonderful.
And if you are going down that Val Kilmer rabbit hole, go watch Top Secret again.
I did this week, and
you did. And did you pick up on the association with this film that we're talking about?
No. What have I missed?
Well, Michael Goff is in that film too.
Is he?
Oh my god! Yeah, he is.
So in his first film, he's in there with Alfred already. So that's why they feel so good in this film, because they've already got the chemistry.
He literally has
great chemistry in this. Yeah.
This Bruce Wayne grow up. He's been there from day dot. Zucker Abrams and Zucker. There's another directors that I didn't mention when I was going through his list, like Titans. He worked with Titans.
And look, we'll all be back talking about it again when Chris O'Donnell finally shuffles off this mortal coil and everyone's like, what are we going to do without NCIS Miami?
That's when we'll do Batman and Robin. We'll do that.
We'll do Batman and Robin when he's gone.
As an honour to Chris O'Donnell when he passes.
Or Arnie. Because that's clearly peak, aren't he?
Look, I really like Val hurt. I don't know if I can survive the grief of Arnold Schwarzenegger dying. Like,
he's had no sequels, so don't worry about it. I know he's in the Terminator movies.
Yeah,
you've done them? Surely
we've done 2.
Judgment Day.
It's honestly like it was hard to do it because it's like, what the fuck do you say about Terminator 2 Judgment Day? Like it's just. I from memory, the whole podcast is me just being like, "Oh, it's so good." That's all I really had to say. So Val Kilmer, one of the, I don't know if he'll be remembered by history as one of the greats, but man, he really was, I think, and he did some incredible stuff while he was
one of the best of his of that generation of actors. You know, the sort of people who were, Tom Cruise age now. I know he's a bit older than Tom, but I feel like he's top 5 easy.
What's your? I know you watched Tombstone the other day, Reeves, but like, what are your favourite 4 Val Kilmers? We'll go around the table because I did just a little 4, and I didn't really think about it. As soon as I heard, he'd been dead 15 minutes, and I was already putting a post up. Yeah. And the first thing that came to mind for me was Batman Forever, it was Wonderland, Tombstone, and Top Gun. The 4 that I just like. Yeah, great movies, fun movies, and then I was like, "Oh my god, I missed Heat."
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's kind of the thing. There's such a great, especially when he was on his hot streak, But definitely this Heat, and probably I really like Spartan, the David Mamet picture. I think he's excellent in that. But in terms of performance, probably Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's just such a, like, if you're thinking about all of that, so Batman to Gay Perry to, which is the name of the character, I'm not just saying Gay Perry for no reason, and to, Doc Holliday, and then to this sort of Chris, the hardened but like adult thief, professional thief. Like, they're all character pieces, they're all character arcs, and they're my favorite type of actors is character actors. So I'd say that's a nice cross section of what his career was. But The Doors is really good as well. Like, I don't know, there's a lot.
Yeah, I think I mean, obviously Batman Forever has to be there because I fucking love this movie and I love Batman. It's just it's hard to go past Heat. I don't know if it's him or if it's the movie as a whole, but
the whole package.
he's fucking great in it. I have to put Salt and Seas. I've always, like, when I watched that movie, it really blew me away, and it's completely underrated. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is unimpeachable. And I think if you look at those 4 films, like, if those are the only 4 films he ever made, holy shit! Like, what a career!
Yeah.
And I didn't even mention Top Gun. Like, that's fuck so good.
Yeah, he was a good one.
He was great. Everyone,
We'll see you on the other side, Val.
Yeah, man. I'd love to. He'd be one of the people I'd have a beer with in whatever's after this, and be like, I gotta know. Like, is he a jerk? Like, let's have a beer and let's see if I can work this out. Because I feel like you're not, but I gotta know, and then find out.
And he'd be back to his young, vital self, around the Ghost in the Darkness sort of era where he was ripped and tanned and shit.
Oh, no, I was thinking Angus is like walking up to him playing volleyball.
Stand there playing double Dutch trot.
I'd just rock up next to him and take my shirt off and stand next to him like, even in the afterlife, I don't have a fucking 6-pack. This is bullshit. Bullshit, Val. Come on.
This heaven is for shit.
I bet you I wouldn't even be in the same afterlife as him. I'd be like, hey, I just want to go talk to Val Kilmer. And they're like, don't cross the rope.
You don't get it. Yeah, he's in the...
You don't get Val Kilmer heaven.
He's in the members section. Yeah.
Back of the line, champ.
What were you? Sorry? You're a comedian? Yeah, no, that's not.
We got a little laneway over there you can go down and sit on a bin.
Yeah.
You fuck off.
Talk to you later, funny man.
He's pointing because you can hang out with those other actors as just neighbours and home and away stars in this little other section.
That's okay. Russell Crowe would be over there and Guy Pearce.
Me and Stonefish
Margot
Rebecca
Robbie.
just sit down and have a real good chat.
Stonefish is going to outlive us all, mate. Don't worry about it.
That man cannot be killed by conventional methods.
No, he's like fucking Rasputin. Or Vigo the Carpathian. Anyway.
Oh my god. What a fucking great movie, and what a sad but brilliant opportunity to talk about it once again with anyone who'll listen. This is an absolute delight. Regan, thank you for being here again.
More than happy.
Cable, thank you for wearing all the Batman gear and representing.
Wow, it comes out of the closet once a month.
That's
or not even.
That's just like Joel Schumacher.
Yeah, I was trying to make a joke, and I said the wrong thing, and it just didn't work.
It's all right. You did the fantastic.
I'm not the comedian of the cast.
The 2-man show here. It was a lovely handball, and then Angus picked it up. I love it.
Everyone, if you're into this, like and subscribe to all the things that everyone always asks you to do. It, like we say every time, it genuinely fucking helps, and we have fun doing this. So if you want to help spread the word, we'd love you for it. And we'll be back talking more films that were not the first in the franchise.
We can announce the next one because we were supposed to talk about Predator 2. That was the one that we were really focusing and honing in on, and unfortunately Belle passed away, and we thought, well, why don't we speak about Batman Forever? So
had to be done.
Next on the card is Predator 2.
Yes.
And Danny Glover's buns in those fucking pants. My goodness, barely holding on.
And Danny Glover's arms in that movie. He's swole boy.
Made out of marble.
We'll get into it next episode, and we hope you guys will be there. And just remember, friends, not all sequels suck. Mwah, bye. Hey, sequels suck fans.
By definition alone, they're inferior films.
I almost